right? I'm just disputing the notion that it has any type of moral value until it becomes sentient life.
Okay, so it's just what you think, how you think, but it's
Yeah.
not necessarily has to be that way,
Well,
right?
this is we're talking about morality. This is my preference when it relates to morality.
Right. So you understand your morality could be different from others.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I disagree with you totally. I mean,
Yeah,
imagine,
so like you think it's acceptable
so
to force women to go through pregnancies with non-sentient fetuses? Right? So like this is gonna be an issue with the basis of that the fetus has no capacity to deploy any type of subjective experience. So it would be the same thing, right, as say the idea or the capacities at the current standpoint of some individual that is brain dead.
again, I don't think nobody's gonna force her. It's not necessarily has to be like, oh, we're forcing you. It's like, hey, you decided to take the choice. You wanna, want to have sex with no. And this goes for the body counts too, bro. Because if you keep doing this, if you keep allowing this, they're just gonna keep going, and the body count is even gonna get higher. But anyways,
Yeah,
let's not talk
so
about that
there's
right
no issue with that I would hold morally speaking with someone getting an abortion prior to
now. Let's
sentience.
not
There is an
let's not
issue
talk
that I
about it.
have
But
with forcing people to give up their bodily resources to an
no, I just think
individual that is not sentient, right? That has never had sentience, that never will have
I just,
sentience.
yeah, I think a different way. I think um they should be responsible for the consequences if they decided to take go to the
Once it's sentient.
yeah, no, I don't think it has to be like once it's sentient. Once it's
Here, I'll just
there, it's
ask
there,
you this
bro. It's
question,
growing.
right? I'll ask you this question. Okay, so let's say that you're in a burning building, right? On one side of the burning building, there is two zygotes, right? That in the future will be implanted into a uterine wall of an individual and will become human beings like me and you, right? Okay. On the other side, there's a newborn baby, but you can only save either the newborn baby or the two zygotes. In this scenario, which would you rather save?
I'll tell my friend go save the ones that are sentient or not sentient, and I'll go for the other baby. I'll get some help, bro, to save
No, no,
all of
no,
them.
no, no. You're the
Yeah,
only
bro.
individual, right? This is a hypothetical scenario. We're talking
You
either
never
you
said I was the
save
only
one.
individual.
Let me clarify then. This is an
Okay.
individual scenario, right? It's either you can only get or only save the newborn baby from dying in the fire, or you can save the two zygotes from dying in the fire. Which would you rather
Right.
save?
I'll probably save both of them, all of them. I'll take
No,
my
you
time to
can't.
save all of them.
You can't
I'll
because
speed
it's
up.
an
I'll do it a
or.
little
It's an
faster.
either or.
I'll do it faster so I can save all of them. I'll take less time to save the
You
first one, and
can't.
then
Again, you can't do that. It's either you save one or the other.
what do you mean?
The hypothetical is that it's either one or the other. You can't save both of them, both the two zygotes and the newborn baby. You can only save either the newborn
Yeah,
baby or the
but you
two
don't know you don't
zygotes.
know how fast I'm gonna do it. You don't know my speed, bro. I could probably save all of them. So
No, again,
what if you could save all of them?
are
I
you
could say the
like
same
are you
thing.
trolling, dude? I'm asking a
No,
very
I could tell
specific
you the same
question.
thing. I'm telling you too. I could say the same thing.
Save the
What if
point
I
of
could
this
save all of
hypothetical
them?
scenario.
In a hypothetical scenario, what if I
The
could save all of
point
them?
the point of this hypothetical scenario is to see
Yeah,
where
but I
you
don't see
place
the
your
point
value.
because you can save them, right? There's a way. So if you're saying there's a way to save them, let's save them. So why not? Yeah, that's what you're saying.
You can save one of them, one of the group, right? But
I know.
you can't
Okay,
save both.
okay. But in reality, we could save all of them. Why not save all of them?
No,
This
not
is
in
just
this particular
hypothetical.
scenario. Not in this particular scenario.
Yeah,
So
no, well, see, to your convenience, you're gonna make a scenario a totally
yeah,
different scenario than what we
yeah.
actually
So
have in real life. Why don't we speak real life, bro? I mean, if we
this
can
is
save all of them,
hypothetical
why don't
scenarios
we save
are
all of them?
important. Hypothetical scenarios are important to demonstrate values that we use to say what we should do in particular scenarios. For
To your
example,
convenience,
if we are at
bro.
a school,
To
let me,
your,
can I
go
explain?
ahead.
For
Yeah.
example, if we are at a school, right? We should think about the different ways in which a school unaliver can go in a building and unalive children so that we can prevent children from being unalived within a school. Right? So hypothetical scenarios about how they could come into the school are going to be relevant concepts and relevant values that we can use to then prevent people from dying.
Right.
So again, the idea here is that we're going to use the values that we get from this thought experiment, we're then going to use and apply them.
I understand you're trying to make people to like trick people to say, oh, one or the other, but in reality, you can't trick reality, bro. That's the facts. You cannot trick reality. Reality tells you we can't save them, and if we can't save them, why not? Why do we gotta choose? Oh, this one's alive and this one, this one's not. It's not a full baby, so let's kill him. What? I mean, it doesn't really, bro. Have you listened to yourself? I mean, you're.
So it's not a trick question. This is a common question within philosophy. People know it as the trolley question, right? You save either this group or this group, right? You can only save
Okay,
one
now
or the
let me
other.
ask you a question, okay? I'm gonna do the same question to you. So
What's
right
the
now,
similar to that?
let's suppose you're in the stomach, you're barely getting developed, and I'm having this chat with someone else. I'm having this chat with someone else right now. That's not you, someone like you. And so we both agree, and there's somebody in the comments that has you in the stomach and is listening to this, and she's gonna listen to us say, "Oh yeah, it's totally fine. They could, and she's gonna be like, "Oh well, they said it's fine. They said it's okay. I'm gonna go. He's not gonna be born. I'm gonna unlive him because he's not 15 weeks yet. So okay, you're never gonna get born that way, bro. Imagine you're in that spot where the baby is getting developed, bro. I mean, do you agree that could be happening right now?
If someone wants to get an abortion prior to 15 weeks,
Imagine you're in that spot. I know you're already a grown
I have
man.
no issue with that. If it was me, I would have no issue with that because I wouldn't exist, as I don't have a consciousness. I don't have a subjective experience.
Yeah, but you were on the way.
I have nothing to relate to in terms of my personal identity. I have nothing to relate to in terms of my personal identity.
Parker, but over here, we're waiting for you. You're on the way. You're coming. You're like,
if my dad.
Hey guys. Hey, wait. You're like, hey guys, I'm swimming right now. I'm getting developed. I'm right here. I'm on the way. I'm coming, and I'm like, no, stop him. Don't let him come. Don't let him get here. Kill him. Take him out. Does that sound cool? Oh, bro.
If it's prior to sentience, I have no issue. I have no issue with getting an abortion, right? So again, if my dad decided to not get divorced, I wouldn't exist either. Do you think it was immoral for him to get divorced?
What?
My dad get divorced.
Right? Wait, but you just said,
and he stayed with his other wife, right? His ex-wife.
Yeah.
I wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you were not in the stomach yet.
So would it have been immoral for him to stay with his ex-wife? Thank you. I appreciate
we don't know that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We don't know that. We don't know if your dad's gonna go back and keep tapping it, bro. We don't know that.
Okay, I'm gonna go on to the next person. Thank you for the corgi. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. He's definitely trolling. There's no way.
What up, bro?
What's up, Tom?
How we doing?
Good, bro. Thank you for the hand. I appreciate it, Mac.
Oh,
what do you want? I know you've been wanting to talk to me about this. It's been a while since I've done this.
Yeah, dude, it's been a minute. I haven't put anything up here that I have necessarily disagreed
with. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we've had. Is it possible for us to just kind of jump into where we left off ish, or at least what we understand about each other's positions, or do we need to?
Yeah. You can do that. Go for it.
Okay, so I have mainly a couple questions about the 20-week mark. If we're gonna go off of that, which is essentially you're saying that we need to. I forget your phrasing, but it's not we need to consider it a human or it deserves rights. But what is it that you say starts at 20 weeks?
Personhood, which is where rights begin.
Okay, rights begin at personhood. Personhood starts at 20 weeks.
All right. Well, 20 weeks can be one standard. All right. Mine is 15. Right. I would accept one that would 20 if it was relating to law and stuff, because it's within a particular level of probability. 15 is just precautionary to preserve the idea in which some fetuses could be sentient, in which we would be unaliving. right? So it's within a particular likelihood. Like the likelihood ranges between 18 through 26 or so.
Okay, sure. So let's say it's 15 or 20 for this hypothetical. It doesn't really matter. Before that, this fetus doesn't deserve personhood or doesn't have personhood. So would you say if we could put this pre-sentient or pre-conscious fetus in through technology, if we could make it to where it never developed consciousness, but it continued to grow, would you say that we could continue to let that fetus grow and then potentially like harvest healthy organs from it at a certain point of development? Would you be okay with that?
I mean, I don't necessarily have an issue with that, but I mean, the same thing could be said for like brain dead individuals. If that's the only way in which we can get organs, because that preserves many human sentient lives, right? By going through that process. If it's not just consciousness, if they had no subjective experience. But yeah, absolutely. What?
Really? You'd be okay with
Yeah.
that?
Oh, absolutely, dude.
That just
You know how many lives that would save? That would save so many people's lives if we had enough organs. If we can't 3D print them, right?
Yeah, no.
Absolutely, that would save lives.
I understand that organs save lives, but
There's
the
no
way-
subjective experience there.
yeah, because you're preventing it by turning it off through some mode of technology. But there's just seems something inherently wrong about like growing people
It would have never existed.
that
Never
have
did exist.
then what is producing the organs that you're harvesting?
What is producing the organs that you're harvesting? Well, I mean, it's going to be produced by the nutrients of like the pregnant individual or the nutrients in which is provided by like the technology.
No, it's not being produced. The organs have a unique
They're being
DNA
sustained
from-
within a body. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a unique DNA from the mother. So
Okay.
it wouldn't be
So
then
so
then
does
what-
a zygote.
Sure, but what's that? Let's say you grow this fetus to 9 months, birth it, and then you can take that fetus's heart and give it to a baby that has like congenital heart failure, right?
It's more of a consequentialist sort of argument, right? Like, I mean, like even if you're a consequentialist, you'd hold to this. So are you saying that you think it's wrong in every single scenario to do something considered to be bad for the greater good of other individuals? Because even if
No,
you do think
definitely
it's
not saying
bad, like
that.
for the initial action, right, to kill it, you can still justify this. You know that, right?
I'm not. I'm genuinely just trying to like. I'm trying to understand what it is about this certain level of sentience from your point of view to where it immediately becomes this thing deserving of all of the rights that we have, but before that it didn't. And I'm trying to demonstrate that through a hypothetical that to me obviously seems wrong, but from your point of view, it allows for it. That's
Yeah,
kind of what
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say you can do anything to this, right? As like even things like sex dolls, I think are wrong, right? Because it creates like unvirtuous sexual relations and stuff like that. So like doing stuff to like dead bodies, right, is also wrong under my view, right?
Sure.
Because it's representative of human relationships and stuff like that.
But yeah, that's kind of a separate. That's kind of a separate argument from this because, like, these fetuses, let's say we catch them at 10 weeks and we flip a switch in the genetic code so that they never develop sentience or consciousness. They are their own person. They have everything that me and you have. They grow fully healthy organs. They just don't have sentience. So I guess what I'm really
Yeah,
trying to point
how is
out
that
is,
different from a brain dead individual? Like, do you think it's wrong for people to pull the plug on someone who's brain dead in their family?
No, I don't.
No. Okay. Well, that's the exact same thing that you're referencing here.
No,
It's not. It's distinct.
because the brain dead individual doesn't have a possible for future subjective experience.
Oh, so you're saying that this one is possible future? Okay. So if
Yeah.
I gave you a scenario in which there's like a sperm one egg on one side, egg on the other, they're going to fertilize and then later would be implanted into uterine wall and produce a baby, right? Would you say that, like, they would have protections once the process begins? Like, I click a button and they're moving towards each other.
This
We
is
haven't
pretty-
hit conception yet.
Yeah, no, you already know that conception is when the DNA is formed. That's when I say personhood would start.
So there's a conjunction there. So in the same respect, I would have a conjunction.
Can you explain that to me? Can you explain what
Yeah.
exactly you mean by that?
So we have a past and future, or past or present and future subjective experience. So a disjunction and conjunction. But
No. Hold on. Dumb it down and tell it to me like I'm a fifth grader. So,
okay. So a conjunction is a this and this is what qualifies for value. A disjunction is a this or this is what qualifies for value.
yeah, but break that language down relevant to my hypothetical, which is I'm saying personhood starts at fertilization of the egg, or at conception, and you're saying it would. I don't know why you choose this argument that like technically it could start when the egg is or the sperm's on the way to the egg. That doesn't make any sense to me. But
Unless if you don't hold to the conjunction, if you hold to the conjunction, right, then it doesn't apply, right? Because you need life and then future subjective experience.
Okay, so what's the conjunction with your?
Wait, just DNA, right? So wait, I have a question with that. So if DNA is what determines a person,
I didn't say
we
that.
can. Okay, it doesn't.
No.
I don't qualify for personhood here was DNA in terms of determining life and then future subjective experience. So the determinant factor would be the life, right?
To be honest, I'm not sure I have I'm not sure I have an A, B, and C. This is what personhood is. But I know it's not just sentience at 20 weeks. Whatever. I know it's not some arbitrary line of 20-week-old sentience.
Well, in the same way that you're saying that it's arbitrary in terms of sentience, you can say that life at conception is arbitrary.
How is that arbitrary though? That
Because
seems
life
like to me
exists in sperm, right, and in an egg.
Yeah, but it's not unique. It's not a unique new human that exists.
That you considering a unique new human is the arbitrary standpoint, the same way that I call it a unique new person once there's a subjective experience.
Yeah, but there is no person that exists before conception. Like make an argument.
Yeah, there is no person that exists prior to sentience.
Yeah, there is. Okay, then whose DNA is it?
What DNA isn't encoded within the sperm and the egg? They're not together yet, but neither are the processes necessary to bring about sentience.
Okay, Parker, 2 is 2 before it's added to 3 and it becomes 5. It's the same thing with these two genetic codes.
Okay. Right, I'm confused what your point is though.
My point is that like 5 is unique from 2 and 3, and just because I have, let's say, 2 apples in this room and 3 apples in this other room, I don't have 5 apples. I don't have that unique 5 apples until I bring them into the same space.
Yeah. So there's a unique sentient experience that didn't exist prior to sentience. That would be the distinction under my view.
Hold on, will you say that last part again?
There's a distinct sentient experience that exists, right, once sentience begins. That would be like the
There's a distinct sentient experience.
Yeah, in the same way that you say there's a distinct life that happens at conception. I say that there's a distinct sentient experience once sentience begins.
Does it matter that it's human sentience or just sentience in general?
I care about sentience in general, but I probably would hold to some standard of human and sentience to have some greater level of value. That probably seems the most intuitive for me.
Would you say fully grown, what's the most sentient animal?
I don't know. You consider most sentient animal. Do you mean like highest intelligence level?
By your definition, I don't have as like concrete a definition of sentience.
It's obviously gonna be humans, but like
okay, but besides humans,
to my knowledge, would be probably some type of
dolphin,
other greater ape.
Oh, okay,
something like that.
Okay, let's say it's a chimp, just for the sake of argument. Would you say if what you value is sentience? Would you say
some birds? It might be. I don't know. Whatever.
Dude, birds are dumb.
No, actually, some birds are intelligent.
Crows are smart. Most birds
bird?
are dumb. I know. Okay, so would you say that a fully matured ape? Let's say you have a fully matured ape and a 7-month-old fetus, and you have to pick one to continue to let live. Which one would you pick?
Wait, sorry. Say that one more time.
if you have a fully matured, let's say you have a fully matured ape, right? It's my pet ape, and he's really kind, and he's never attacked anybody, and he's awesome. And then you have a 7-month-old fetus, and you have to.
I'm in that scenario. I'm still gonna pick the 7-month-old fetus, because I qualify value based upon past and future subjective experience. Right. Once subjective experience has begun, there is a past and a future in which we could reference.
Okay, but the ape has that too, and it's a greater level of.
And then there's a level of sentience within the 7-month-old, right? But even if that doesn't exist, I probably would still have a qualifier just based upon them being human and sentient, right? That would outweigh other types of great apes.
And when you say you would have a greater qualifier because of its humanness,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so there's going to be a conjunction of qualities in order for there to be a greater level of value. One of those qualities is going to be the fact that they are part of the human species, right? And then it's going to be sentience. So human sentience would be granting of a greater level of value.
And
There's no
at what-
particular quality other than the notion that they're human. Outside of that.
Okay, so at what level does so then it's not just sentience that you value. There's some level. There's some.
There's something about about human sentience in which I would see to be valuable. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So because I'm probably not going to concede to some of the reductios you'd bring about for like, you could find some other types of animals that have greater levels of sentience than particular, or greater levels of even highest sentience comparative to what's it called, like humans, because some like mentally disabled humans wouldn't be able to reach the same level of sentience as like any we could bring up other types of animals and whatnot, but so I would still probably say that we'd want to save like the human
Okay.
that's sentient in that scenario
Fair. So
over
if
the other animals. Yeah.
If we went back to my hypothetical, let's say you have your 14-week-old fetus, and you flip off the genetics, which is that it will never develop sentience, but it still has the human aspect that you do value. You don't care about if we start to sort of like harvest these babies and
well, this is just going to be like should we do? I mean, this can be multiple different things. For me, it's going to be like I don't care about it. It's sentient, human sentient. That's just not going to grant it moral value. Like you won't be able to do everything to it, but doing this
Why
would be
not?
beneficial. Well,
Why
because
not?
this, in the same way that I brought up earlier, like with like the dead individuals, right? Like you can't do things to like their bodies and whatnot, right? Like necrophilia and stuff, right? Because it's not conducive to like virtuous sexual relations.
Okay, let's keep sex out of it, because that's definitely wrong. But could
Yeah,
you?
like that's one of the reductios that you could have asked here, right? That's what I'm saying.
Sure, but yeah. But I'm not going to ask about that, because obviously that's wrong. But and you and I would both agree that's wrong. I think it's wrong to grow these fetuses without their consent and turn their brains off and harvest their organs. I think that's wrong, but you don't think that's wrong. So tell me why that's not wrong.
Well, because harvesting organs is going to save multiple sentient lives, right? So the multiple sentient lives in which are saved by the organ harvesting is going to outweigh, even if we were to consider something bad in this scenario with like the organ harvesting. There is no consent with this being, as it doesn't have sentience, right? There is no notion of consent, right? What is consent, right? It's going to require something that has some type of sentience.
Yeah, because we turned it off. Like you decided to not allow it to grow sentience.
Yeah. They've never had sentience. They never will have sentience.
Yeah, because we
So,
turned
yeah.
it off. So you're okay with that?
Yeah, with the organ. Yeah, because that saves many sentient lives. Yeah.
No, I know that it will, but you're also like you're also essentially in my
No, the fact that you're against that is concerning to me. Actually, I'm not even joking. Like that's actually like, bro. Yeah, that's an obvious answer to me.
So if we just started going into women and turning their something off in their fetus to where it never develops sentience, that to me is like, no, you're in the life of this tiny human that inevitably would have grown this sentience if it's healthy.
Yeah. And also, like when someone pulls out, like there would have inevitably been some type of kid there in many scenarios. Yeah, but that the killing of the sperm we don't really care about.
Yeah, but That's not the same.
Well, it is, like, to my view. Because these are the conditions prior to there being the valuable characteristic, i.e. sentience.
Okay, here, let me see if if this will break through it all. So from week 1 to 14, or excuse me, from conception to week 14, you have whose genetic code is within the cells of the fetus? Is it the mother's?
Wait, sorry, at what week?
At week 2, let's say week 2, whose genetic code is it that is in the mother?
There's the mother's genetic code, and then there's also the genetic code of another individual, like a life.
Okay. All right.
Again, I don't care about just the life aspect. I care about the sentient life, the subjective experience, past and future subjective experience.
Sure. And at what point did that unique genetic code start?
I would say that unique genetic code particularly starts at conception, right? But there are the preceding conditions to that with the sperm and the egg, in which
Sure.
led up to the conception and led up to the further processes.
So then
The same way that the preceding factors of the life and the development, right, lead to the sentience.
Sure. So you said that it started. Sorry. I usually don't read the comments, but sometimes I get lazy. Okay. So you just told me that unique genetic code starts at conception. I agree. Why is it that you called that line that I drew earlier arbitrary then? You said it's just as arbitrary as your 20-week line, but I don't agree with you.
Right, because again, we can say that the unique genetic code then distincts it as human life, right? As a part of it, but that's arbitrary because there are lines of life that exist prior to that notion. The same way there's a life within the sperm, or there's life within the egg. Those are unique in terms of its genetic code, right? And then they come together to bring about this process. The same way that this is unique within its genetic code, yeah, right? But it doesn't get its unique value to me until it has this subjective experience, right? The subjective experience beginning is going to be the same thing as the life beginning under your view.
Yeah.
Because we're drawing it on the line that is most probable to indicate the beginning of this valuable organism.
Yeah. Okay, well, I still think it's messed up that you're down to like grow these little fetus organ harvesting things.
Dude, right? That would save so many people, right? Are you kidding?
Imagine, Parker, imagine how
Dude,
many...
you know how many people's
directions-
grandparents are dying because they don't have access to
Yes.
organs?
I want everybody to have organs. Like, I'm not saying I don't want people to have...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, my care about that is going to significantly outweigh this idea of a being which is not sentient, never would be sentient, right?
Sure. But just imagine how many bad directions that could go in if you start allowing... If you start allowing us to treat like women as just these like as these organ harvesting vessels.
Wait, what are you talking about? Like, you mean any individual with sentience, right? They're not going to be women because
No, I'm talking about
they're
like
not people, but
within a woman's womb. If you start treating that as like, oh well, you could just grow this thing and then harvest its organs as soon as it's ready. That to me is messed up.
yeah, if they're not ever going to be sentient, yeah. So I think what you're disputing here is that you can do some type of bad that justifies good, but you have to hold to this on your religious perspective. You know that, right, Tom? Right? Like there's suffering that's necessary under your view for a greater good. You can't hold to like sort of a deontic lens here. Else you can't even justify creation. I'm not to bring up like religion, but like this is actually something you have to hold to. That's why I'm so concerned as to why you don't hold this.
Yeah, no, I understand that like there's some suffering that's required for some good, but that doesn't hold true in every circumstance. Like I could say, let's say, Parker, you had like the perfect stem cells for this large group of cancer patients to survive, and in order to get the right amount of stem cells, we had to kill you Like, obviously that suffering is not fair because
If it was killing me to save, say, 1 million people, I would do it. Right? I'm a
but if it-
particularist, so I'm not going to hold to every consequentialist stance,
would it be
right?
right
But
for me to
I would believe in some utility calculations in terms
Sure.
of doing bad in order to have good, right? Like if doing something bad to me would save 1 million people, right? Obviously, I think that you'd concede to that too, right?
Yeah, no. If it was me and it was my choice, I would too. But what if I didn't have your consent and it was three people that you didn't even like?
3 people. I don't know if I would put it in 3 people, but
Exactly.
but like maybe if we extend 5 or something like that, sure.
Yeah, but
Right, but
if
three
I didn't
people,
have your
3 people,
consent,
you know that you might be able to. I'm sentient. So there's a distinction there as well.
yeah, but let's say you turn the sentience off in one of these fetuses, and then it grows to 25 weeks in the womb. It would have had the sentience, but you turned it off. Like, you didn't give it the opportunity to have sentience.
Yeah, the same way that when you pulled out, you didn't have the opportunity to have life.
You know, that's like, I know deep down.
Dude, that is literally the exact same thing.
No, it's not, bro. Because
For me, it is. Like
I'm gonna think of a good analogy for why that's just seems to me so ridiculous. Like, it's just so ridiculous to me that you're viewing pulling out and conception as like analogous somehow.
Yeah, because it's the processes that lead up to conception. The same way there are processes in which the development leads up to sentience. So like, I mean, I don't see a distinction at all. I'm really confused as to why people are acting like this is a crazy thing for me to say, or why you're acting like that. Because like, this is very simple.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't have any questions. Appreciate you coming on that, Tom.
All right, bro. Peace.
Peace out, bro. All right, I'm gonna go to the next person. If you disagree, if you're pro-life, make sure to send a guest request right now, y'all. I'm gonna go into the next person, everyone. All right.
Hey, Parker.
Yo, what's up, bro? Thank you for the chat with you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're pro-life, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, for sure. Why so?
So, well, I am pro-life because I would say that from the perspective of seeing that I believe that unaliving like human beings is wrong. Taking a direct action such as that, I'm going to hold that view for infanticide, so I would hold the same for abortion. I don't see a moral difference between the child outside or inside the womb. And therefore, I'm going to find that abortion is immoral.
Yeah, so the distinction's gonna be sentience under my view.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you're saying that. Like I am surprised. I gotta admit, I am surprised, Parker, that you're saying that. Like, you're comparing sperm to like the human, which is a gamete, which is a cell, to an actual human organism. Like, I understand a sentience view. You can argue sentience,
Within
and
what respect,
that's
though,
its own stance.
Mike,
Huh?
within what respect, though? It's the processes that lead up to the particular valuable entity, right? The valuable entity to me is sentience. So the processes in which lead up to the development of the sentience, like the resources required from the mother, right, is the exact same sort of process and active potential as people engaging in intercourse. There's active potential there as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to see it the same way because I see sperm, like I look at it based on the substance, or like the actual so like we know, like based on science, like 90 from a lot of studies, that human life, most biology textbooks will tell you that human life begins at the point of fertilization, right? That is a unique organism. So sperm, its life cycle, its potential is to fertilize the egg. But after that is the end of the life cycle for sperm. It doesn't have it where the organism ourselves, our life cycle starts from the point of like when we're a blastocyst, zygote, fetus, neonate, onwards. So I'm not going to look at it the same. Now, you can say that at the point it's a for zygote and all of them, that it could be it's a human life, but it doesn't. It's kind of like a shell. It doesn't have, a sentience yet. It doesn't have these. It doesn't have the actualization of these features. Therefore, I don't value this human life. I can understand that argument, but I can't get past the fact that these are two different substances. Like, one is sperm. It's done after we're not sperm.
Yeah,
but we were once a fetus.
Yeah, without sentience, it's not sentient, and then once there's sentience, it is sentient, right? That's going to be the fundamental distinction as well under mine. We're just talking about processes that lead to this particular scenario happening, right? So if we had a name that described like a non-sentient fetus, right, prior to this point, right, and that was everything before that, that'd be the same thing as what you're saying there with the sperm. That point in development its potential would be to its potential would be to reach the state of sentience. Does that make sense? Because it's a stage of development to reach this point. The same way there's going to be a set of circumstances that have to happen to reach this point. So this is all semantics, right? Of how we're just defining, using language.
It does from your point of view, like your perspective. Like I can grant you that, so that we can kind of move on from there. Like I can grant that. Now, so would you say though? Okay, so like sentience is what you value. So is that going to be anything that can exist with sentience?
So I'm going to care about things that are sentient. Yeah, I'm going to care about things that are sentient in general. But I do have a qualifier for human and sentience. Like, I have a conjunction of those characteristics, so I'd be
okay. But isn't that okay? But to me, if you're valuing the human and you're valuing sentience, it needs to be a conjunction of both. Like, I'm not seeing the distinction of like why it has to be a human sentience when we know that other animals, including rats, can exist with a higher level of sentience than, say, a newborn.
Well, like newborns have higher future states, right, than they would, right? And I still value future states once there's an established past sentience or present sentience. So there's still an idea that exists there that I can relate to in terms of like the future actualization.
Okay, what do you define as sentience?
Subjective experience.
So subjective experience. Okay, so it can be yeah. So, but why are we not granting like the same personhood to animals that can also exhibit this? Like, I'm not seeing like why we're only valuing
quality
humans. Like,
of human and future sentience. I mean, not future and sentience. It's like the same sort of way that like I'm not going to value something with just future sentience, or you're not going to value something with like. All right, do you have a conjunction of characteristics where you do life and future sentience? Is that your view?
Yeah, like I'm not going to necessarily. I don't think that sentience is like what sets us apart.
You're not going to value life without future.
I'm going to value more of like the higher capacity for moral reasoning, like agency, like the ability that's going to come into existence. The fact that we, at some point in our future, like we're going to be able to acknowledge each other's rights. This is how we know that we can. Yeah, so I'm going to go with more of a higher rationale.
Oh, okay. So if we know that like this type of fetus is never going to reach a stage in which they have higher rationale, right? Or is it okay to kill it?
No, because I'm going to hold to the endowment principle. I don't hold to a performance principle.
What do you mean?
So I'm going to hold to so the endowment principle is going to be like, because it's part of this particular, it's within this particular subset group, and this group we can see exhibits this higher rationale, then I'm going to say that
that's this species. So that you're just saying the same thing.
Okay, but your argument is species essentialist as well.
Yeah,
you realize that, right?
I never disputed that. Right.
Okay.
That's why all I was establishing. Thank you for the hint. I appreciate it. Is that you have that exact same idea?
Well, actually, technically, no, it's not species essentialist. Mine isn't necessarily. Because not? I would say that. I'm going to tell you why.
I think it is.
No, I'm going to tell you why. Like if
I think
like,
that
if
honestly
we could
speaking, that's bogus reasoning. Like I'm going to be totally honest.
No.
It's the same thing that like Mike Walsh uses with like the nature of. All you're saying is that typically it has these characteristics. So a situation in which it does not have the characteristic, it doesn't fit within that. right? So to take the group based upon that particular characteristic is not applicable to all scenarios. So it's just trying to like walk around that idea.
No,
I just
not
don't
at
see
all,
it to be
because-
convincing that it does at all.
But it isn't, though. Let me explain why. Because here's the thing. Like, if we knew that someone was born and they didn't have, like, the ability to speak, like, humanly speak, right? And we had this drug come out, like, that could actually, like, possibly, provide treatment for that. Are we going to give this drug to someone of a species to try to get them to speak that doesn't exhibit this characteristic, or are we going to try to give it to someone of a species that has this defect? Because at that point, if they don't have this characteristic, it's not a fact that we would look at them and say, oh, well, this one just doesn't have it. We would look at it as that there is a defect. And so, like, my argument is to protect equally humans, regardless of whether they've exhibited this trait or not, because otherwise it's going to lead down the road. Yours does too.
Wait, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. So it's not
humans.
So the qualifier is not this one trait that doesn't exist in this scenario. It's the fact that they're human. There you go. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
it's not.
Either way, though, your argument
it's
is
not the higher rationale. That literally is
either way, though, your
point.
argument. Either way, your argument is also you've acknowledged.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Humans are essentialist. I just don't think that if we're going to value humans, which we both do, I don't think that we should go with the view of performance to where we start disqualifying, because there's a lot of cases of children that are born that may have lesser degrees of this. Like, what if they can't? What if they don't?
Well, Mike, we're not disputing this. Let's get to a point where we dispute, because, I agree, but like I was just trying to show you that you're doing the same thing, right? And then now we see that that's the case. That was the point I was making.
Sure, but I agree, but I'm just saying that, like, I agree to the extent that, like, we're both valuing the human. So I think now it just gets down to the point of, like, whether we say that whether the performance is the standard, or whether we say that we should value equally human beings, and that we shouldn't get to the point to where we're saying, because you don't exhibit this characteristic to this degree, because what's to say that your view doesn't turn into, well, yeah, now that we've established that we're only going to value humans that exhibit this trait, now I think that humans should be able to exhibit more of this trait. They're more valuable because they're able to exhibit this trait at a higher level. Like, that's where I would be. That's where my concerns would be.
Okay, so you can hold the view that things that have higher of this ability can be more valuable, but you also are holding that in accordance with them being human.
I'm also holding it to what? I'm sorry?
In accordance with them being human, because there's a conjunction.
Well,
this
is what I wanted to get to. So I would hold this view also for even, like, let's just say we had Superman's obviously fictional, right? But let's just say Superman did exist and he exhibited this higher rationale. I would also give Superman protection. I don't know if you went with your sentience argument.
Yeah, you can. But, wait. Obviously,
no. I was asking. That was a question. I wasn't saying that you didn't hold that.
No, if there was a being that had this greater state of, I would still hold that they would have rights.
Yeah, so I'm just not sure, like, why we're holding it to where they have to exhibit this level of sentience. Because what if? Okay, someone gave you this question. I want to give. Let's just say this mother could take some kind of pill or some kind of drug that would, like, put this child, and it was possible for them to have had in the womb, have had prior sentience, and then for her to, there's some kind of drug that we're able to put together, and it blocks the sentience for a period of time. Would you say that they no longer should be valued, that they should be protected?
They've already had sentience, right? And now they don't have future sentience. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, inside the womb, that they've had sentience at one time, and some one time they've lost sentience, and now, like, would you say that
can it come back?
At this point, they're no longer a person.
Can it come back?
Yes.
Yeah, I have past or present and future. What?
Okay, but why does wait? This is the part. Like,
that's
okay,
my
so
conjunction. Past or present and future.
Come back. Okay, but we're both valuing the fact that in the present that they're going to hold or in the future, I'm saying, that they're going to hold these capabilities.
Yeah, but the
All
future
I'm
is
saying is
valuable
that I don't
insofar
see,
as
like, why
the
you have
past
to
is
have a
established.
past.
Wait, hold up. The future is valuable
Yeah, but
insofar as the past is established, the past or present.
why?
That's the conjunction. That's literally what the view is. The view is
Well,
this
I know
and
it's your
this to have
conjunction, but like,
value.
what's the moral? What is the moral like delineation between those two? Like, I'm trying to figure out like why
What do you
morally,
mean?
like why morally should we value this particular, the fact that they've had past sentience? I mean, like technically, a person that's no longer living has past sentience, right?
Yeah, but it's past sentience and future, right? That's what I see as to be most applicable to the scenarios in which
I know it's a
would hold to
conjunction.
my
I'm just
intuition.
saying why.
What's that?
Okay, so okay. So your intuition is that they should have past sentience. Is there but I mean,
Past or present
is there a
and
reason
future.
why you think that? Okay, why does your intuition say this? Do you have like anything that like leads to this?
Yeah,
I know
it's the
that
most applicable
and maybe it
given
doesn't. Maybe it's just
reductios.
that's where you're at.
Most applicable given reductios.
Okay.
That's my reasoning.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I think that's where it usually is going to end up anyways. Like, I'm just going to apply to a principle of phenomenal conservatism where this is like a seeming for me, like it seems to be the case. So I can understand, like, once you get down to a certain amount of like intuitions, they can only reduce down so far. So
Yeah, it all reduces down to an intuition, right? But we can give reasons
Right.
and try to give inferences as to why.
Right, I understand. I figured it probably would reduce down to that to a certain extent. I appreciate your live. At some point, I do want to get on your live again when you do the
God
theist topic. Yeah,
Yeah,
But,
we can definitely do that.
but-
I'm down.
I do appreciate the fact that like how you host your lives, how respectful you are towards your guests, like, and honestly, how like you are pretty smart, like as far as like what you know and stuff like that. Like, honestly, like you're one of the better
Appreciate it, bro.
debaters.
Appreciate it. man.
Appreciate having me up. Have a good night.
Have a good day. All right, let's go to the next person. That was good. I appreciate it. Thank you for the answer. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let me go to the next person. Hopefully we can get some people in here to debate everyone. Disagree. Thank you for watching right now, y'all. Is it gonna accept someone? Here, I'm trying everyone. It's not accepting people. Give it a second, everyone. See, you didn't even pick me. Joshua, you didn't send a request. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Okay, they're not here. They left. We'll see if we can get people. Give it a second, everyone. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
For sure. Are you pro-life?
Yes, I am.
Why so?
So, I mean, to sort of establish my point, can I just ask you a couple questions just so I can get your sort of
Go for it.
perspective? So, at what point does a mother like not have jurisdiction over the baby? So, at what point is killing the baby murder, in your opinion?
Once it's sentient.
Which is
And you didn't cause it. Yeah, so that's 15 weeks is my precautionary.
15. Okay, so if she killed the baby afterwards, like after it's born, that'd be wrong, right?
Yeah.
So, when you say you're pro-choice, are you pro-choice or pro-abortion? Because pro-choice can mean a lot of things. Like they say, a woman should be able to have control over her body. Is that just over control?
Here, I'll just tell you what I mean. I'm going to be okay with most abortion.
Okay, so should, like, for example, mentally ill people be allowed to have abortions?
Yeah. Well, anyone can have an abortion prior to sentience.
Yeah, okay. So they should be able to choose exactly what they want to with their body, no matter their mental capability, right?
Yeah, prior to sentience. If it's like obviously if it's something that's a safe procedure.
Okay, so my point is, it's like, to what point does that stop? So should a woman be able to get their healthy arms amputated?
A procedure that's meant to benefit them. Like if it was to save their life.
But so you're only up for abortions that are like life-threatening, so giving the baby life-threatening.
No. People would want to get an abortion if it relates to like financial reasons. It could be many different reasons. right? I just don't care about it prior to it being sentient, right? And I would see that getting an abortion and limiting there from being a pregnancy or an obligation that you have in the future is going to be fundamentally different than cutting off an arm.
Is it though? Because it's
Yeah,
the removal of
it
cells,
is, right?
It's the removal of healthy cells from a human body. So should a mentally
Yeah,
ill
it doesn't mean that all healthy cells are viewed the same. So is chemo. Chemo removes healthy cells, right? But it destroys more of the negative cells, and that's why we see it to be justified.
So you think a woman should be able to cut off her healthy arm?
Right? No. If there's not unless there's a benefit, right? There's no benefit in that scenario.
Okay, so if they cut off their legs, they wouldn't have to pay for trousers, for example. That's a benefit.
That's not a benefit that would outweigh the costs.
Are you sure?
Yes, because then they can't work,
well,
they can't take care of themselves. They won't have money to be able to pay for that in the first place.
Well, I think that sort of, you need to look at it like quite black and white. You're taking a moral perspective, which is obviously moral law always changes. So
no, I'm a particularist, so it's based on my intuition.
So do you support the removal of healthy cells? Because you can't say
it depends on the scenario.
So the scenario is someone wants to cut off their arm or their leg.
I don't see a good enough benefit from that.
So you wouldn't support that, right?
No.
So why do you only support the killing of a fetus?
Because I see a good enough benefit from someone not wanting to sustain this pregnancy and removing the sustaining of the pregnancy prior to the fetus. So there's an obligation entailed by someone engaging with this particular.
I don't think
continuing
there's much I can sort of.
And if we look at economic impacts, right, it's significantly better economically to have access to abortion than to not have access to abortion as well. So we have way better quality of life arguments for things like abortion prior to sentience than we would for cutting off like an arm. There seems not really to be any good argument for that being beneficial.
Yeah, and I understand what you mean, but if I truly wanted my arm to be gone, I feel like you're being you're not being consistent. You're consistent with the fact that you want to.
I'm not saying that any want is okay.
Can you say that again, sir?
I'm not saying any want is okay. I never made that claim.
So, well, you're saying you're pro-choice.
Yeah, not in every scenario. Right, I'm not saying someone. Yeah, I'm for mandating lots of things.
But you're
I'm even for mandating seatbelts.
What's that got to do with abortion?
The point is that that's against someone's choice, right? All right. What I'm saying when I'm saying I'm pro-choice when it relates to abortion, that's going to be predicated off of the idea that I am okay with abortion in most cases. Thank you for the hydro, so I'm appreciate it. If I am supportive of abortions up to 15 weeks or so, that's I think 90-something% of abortion. So.
Well, yeah, but seatbelts is an exterior thing. That's something you put on yourself. This is internal. We're talking about the baby is yourself, or the fetus is yourself, right? It's your own cells. So, just to understand, because I think the inconsistency I can't really argue, right? Because you're saying I don't mind if you kill these cells of the body, but I don't want you to kill the other ones.
That's not an inconsistency, right? Because I'm a particularist. I'm not making a principled claim. If there's no principled claim I've made, right, then there's going to be no contradiction.
Well, so no one can argue. That's your opinion. No one can really argue your opinion.
That's exactly what morals are. Right?
Yeah, but
we can give reasons to infer one preference over another. Right? Thank you. I appreciate the butterfly. Thank you so much. Or how give counter examples to say this makes more sense given your values, or reductio ad absurdum and stuff like that. Right, that's compatible with being a particularist.
But what I'm saying is, factually, if you're following this moral of that a person should be able to choose what they want to do, then that should.
I'm not saying in all scenarios. No. Thank you for the hand. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate the hat and cowboy. Then
I'll have to leave because there's not much I can argue with.
No, there is, right? We can give counter examples for example, right? What do you value, right? Is it life at conception?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're for forcing people to take care of pregnancies, right, or to give up their resources to non-sentient fetuses.
No. In the same way, would you be?
You just said yeah.
In the same way, would you be forcing someone to keep on taking care of their arm, for example, washing it or putting clothes on it, keeping it warm?
Yeah, but we're talking about like a. Thank you for the corgi. I appreciate it. We're talking about like a fetus here, particularly, right? Way more negative impacts than having your arm, right? You understand that. Not being able to get access to abortion
that's your opinion.
has many psychological, financial impacts, right? Many different quality of life impacts that are not seen by the removal of someone's arm, right?
But they're not consistent. That could change. You never know. Like, you can't say, well, maybe the baby may hurt this mother. You don't know.
What?
You don't know whether.
When did I say that?
You're analyzing quality of life, right? So the mother.
I'm saying there are quality of life arguments for as to why, right, we might apply it in this scenario that we wouldn't see it in like the scenario in which it would be with the arm.
I don't think that. Well, you can't analyze when a mother wants to have an abortion, because if this person had body dysmorphia, and the mother's quality of life would go down by having this arm, right? You can't pick and choose in which quality of life you want to sort of support, because there's obviously
Actually I can't, because I'm not making a fucking principled claim. Nani, thank you. I appreciate the corgi. Thank you so much. You're just misunderstanding particularism. There's no contradiction with this view.
I don't think you can go on sort of like on this live and saying I'm pro-choice, and then
why not?
Any argument you can just say I don't agree with that. There's no way.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works in morals, right?
So, well, I don't.
You can make someone's view seem absurd, but you haven't made my view seem absurd. You know.
And I mean, I don't think you have made mine either. I think you've sort of.
I don't even know what your view is yet. We haven't talked about it yet. Do you want to talk about your view?
Well, my view is I feel like I'm pro-life, because I think that people shouldn't be able to destroy, harm, like, cells in their body.
Any cells in their body. So are you against chemotherapy?
No.
Wait, but you're destroying healthy cells.
For the great, we're talking about life-threatening things, right? It's more
for the greater good.
Well, that's you're asking me questions.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If someone wanted to get an abortion, right, and they were going to unalive themselves if they couldn't get the abortion, can they do it? Thank you for the doc. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the
presenting the view. I'm not saying I'm pro-life. Debate me. You're saying I'm pro-choice. So I'm telling you, and I'm asking you the question: why do you see a difference between a fetus and an arm? You're presenting that view, and I'm challenging it. I'm not necessarily.
I already gave you the distinction in terms of the obligation that you have to sustain the particular fetus in terms of nutrients and resources, in which can have a negative impact on your physical bodily autonomy and whatnot. Thank you. I appreciate the duck. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
in which we would see to be sufficient to ground that someone would be reasonable within getting an abortion given these circumstances. Right. Whereas it doesn't seem to be established that someone would be reasonable for cutting off their arm, given that there's nothing positive that is coming from it. Thank you for the duck. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And that's what I'm saying. You can't analyze every abortion and every amputation by like variables. It's not. You know.
You'd have to give me the particular circumstance, and I can tell you what I feel given the circumstance.
So then you're not pro-choice.
I am pro-choice, just not in every single circumstance. Again, I told you what I mean by pro-choice.
No,
if you want to continue to misunderstand what my view is, I can tell you what it is again.
It's not misunderstanding.
No, you are. You absolutely are. When I say I'm pro-choice, that means I'm okay with abortion in most circumstances. And then what it is that I'm pro-sentience, right? So after this particular time period, given that you've caused it, right, you cannot get an abortion. Thank you. I appreciate the Lucy. Thank you so much.
Okay, so then I guess there's nothing I can really do there. You're
no,
saying.
But you grant rights at conception.
You can't be pro-choice in certain circumstances. You have to.
That's just a semantical difference. So what I mean by this, I already told you what I mean, right? So you can say that you disagree with the terminology, but it's clear what I mean. Okay.
Well, no.
So are you okay with abortion? Are you okay with abortion up until 15 weeks?
I don't have a view. I'm just challenging yours.
You have no view.
I don't have a view. No.
That's fine, right? But I mean, if that's fine. You can come on and do that. But like in a debate, right? You posit two different arguments, generally speaking, right? If you don't want to run an argument, right? That's fine. But
you're
not adding to the conversation.
I'm taking this from the viewpoint as pro-life. And personally, I don't have a strong sort of selective sort of thing where I say this should happen, this shouldn't. I feel like you cannot say that you're pro-choice or in the way that you mean it anyway, without having sort of boundaries. But you can't analyze every situation differently. Well, you're saying up until.
Thank Even out, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Well, I think there's no way to debate someone's opinions, right? Because your opinion is most likely never going to change. And you
Yeah,
can
what's a moral principle that you hold to? Name one.
I don't think there's
Any principle you hold to. Let's go through it right now. You're saying that you need these guiding principles. What name a principle?
Well, what do you mean by that?
Something that is wrong in all scenarios.
So in every single scenario.
Yeah, any logically possible scenario, it is wrong.
I'm not sure. Nothing comes to mind, but there definitely will be. Well, for example, okay, here's the thing:
to not kill a baby, self-defense. What about self-defense? What if it's going to lead to your death if you do not do so?
Well, there's
and given that you're giving your resources to it already.
Well, exactly. That's morally you can't put these sort of things in circumstances. I can't say circumstance like killing a baby would always be wrong because there will be the circumstance that killing that baby will save like more lives.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what the particularist notion is. Thank you for the Gus. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So I don't hold to any guiding principles in which are applicable to every single scenario, right? You give me the scenario, I'll tell you what I feel about it or what my psychological preferences are about this particular phenomenon.
So is this a debate or is this us asking you, do you think this would be okay? And you go yes or no.
That's what a debate is, right? Right. We're at least when it relates to morals here.
Well, it's me. So you're getting guests to ask you, is this okay? And you say yes or no.
Thank you. I appreciate the mocha. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, we question each other's positions. We give reductios. Right? Do you know what a reductio ad absurdism is?
I think I've made.
So I try to reduce an individual's view, given counterexamples, to either an absurd notion, right, or a contradiction.
So I don't think there's anything further I can do. I can't change someone's opinion, and I guess that's it. But yeah,
I mean, you can change my. You show me how like your values are actually my values, right? That's what we're doing. When I give a reductio ad absurdism, I'm trying to show you how your values are actually in accordance with mine in this scenario.
Well, I think I've said everything I can. I think there's no way I can change your opinion, but thank you.
You can, but
I can change your opinion. Well, I feel like you're not putting this information out there. It's not a debate. It's you saying I think this is okay and no, I think this isn't. So that's
what it is in the scenario. You're just giving up.
I'm not giving up. But okay, I am.
Then give me a reductio.
Well, I'll say what I've said before again, and I want you to answer it very straightforwardly. Is that okay? You need to say an absolute answer.
I appreciate that mustache. Thank you.
Why is the killing of a fetus? Why do you support the killing of a fetus and not the amputation of an arm?
All right, there are going to be a lot more positives that we see from getting an abortion comparative to
in what situation?
Like getting rid of an arm.
What if cutting off your arm saved 1 million lives?
Okay, then yeah.
Then
what?
You would support that.
Yeah, absolutely. What?
Okay, so and that's my point. Well, what do you mean?
You wouldn't be for that?
Cutting off my own arm to save 1 million.
Yeah, to save 1 million people.
I don't think I'll do that. No.
Dude, that is you just reductio ad absurdism your own point, dude.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
Bro just reductioed himself. I can't believe it, dude. I can't believe bro just reductioed himself. That's wild. That is wild, chat. I didn't even have to do anything.
My life.
Think of the Gus. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Wasn't me.
Mean, maybe this is a bit selfish, but my life perspective is that my life is the only guaranteed life. Like I can only guarantee my own.
What if it was 1 billion people?
Then maybe I'll consider it, but yeah.
No, okay, not 1 million, but if it was 1 billion.
Well, yeah, because 1 billion is 1 in 8 people, and that probably affect people I know, right? 1 million probably wouldn't affect people I know.
Only because what if it was 1 billion people that you didn't know?
1 billion people that I did not know. Then I don't think I'll consider it.
Dude, no way, dude. That is fucked. What about 1 trillion people you didn't know?
Well, that's not possible, is it? But
no. What about 1 trillion people you did not know? That's logically possible.
There's not 1 trillion people, so it's not possible.
Let's say that there's aliens, okay, in this hypothetical scenario, right? Would you be okay with a trillion aliens?
1 trillion aliens
that are the same level of intelligence as us humans, right? Dying because you didn't want to chop off your arm.
I mean, And then you have to get into circumstances. How far away are the aliens? Like, if they're a billion light years, then of course I wouldn't. I'd keep my arm.
I don't even know how that's relevant.
Well,
but
no,
like,
okay, well, no, it's not. It's not. Would you?
thank you. I appreciate that mustache. Thank you so much. Oh, so apparently, wait, it's justified for location to be relevant. So what's the reason why it's wrong for someone to justify abortion within the womb just based upon the fact that it's located in someone's body versus outside? All right, do you think that's a justified reason?
You were talking about seatbelts. That's an exterior thing, right? That's something you get put onto your body. I'm just trying to figure out, why do you draw the line at a fetus and not an arm, considering a fetus is.
I've already given you. I've given you the scenarios. I've given you what I've thought. I've explained it multiple times. Did you not get it? You literally reductioed yourself,
your
bro.
idea of abortion? Will we take every abortion case to you? So
Yeah, you can give me. Yeah, you can give them to me, and I'll tell you how I feel about them.
So that can't be practical. You can't practically implement
Sure.
abortion where you go to Parker and ask him about every single abortion in the world.
I appreciate that mustache. Thank you so much.
You can't do that. You have to find.
What's the buddy?
Well,
I think generalism isn't applicable, as it's going to lead to contradictions.
I think you have to practically look at it.
Or absurdisms.
If you allow the termination of a fetus, then I think you should also allow for medical services to
Dude, wait, let's not walk past the idea that you just said it's okay for a billion people to be unalived, right? Just because you didn't want to cut off an arm.
Yeah. What's that got to do with abortion? I don't see how that.
That's an absurd notion, bro. Are you kidding? A billion people's lives, right? All of them being What if they were all burned alive?
A billion people burned alive.
Yeah, a billion people burned alive that you don't know.
Well,
right? But you can save them just by cutting off your arm.
There's number one, of course, that's never going to happen. So you can't ask me.
So like you just don't understand what a reductio is, right? So it's meant to demonstrate a concept here. Would you see it to be justified in that scenario?
Well, what I'm saying is, personally, my own values, I would not cut off my arm. No.
Right, to save the billion people?
Personally, me with my own values, no, I wouldn't.
So the billion people, you'd let them burn alive because you didn't want to cut off an arm.
I've said my point, but what I'm trying to say is, practically, if we are to implement pro-choice or pro-life, I feel like pro-life is the better option, because you cannot take every case to someone. You can't just take every case to you, because every person's personality and thoughts are different. So you cannot practically implement pro-choice. And I do agree. I think if pro-choice is analysed by someone with my opinion...
I can practically implement it, right? What I would argue is that there's no practical implication of yours because there's a contradiction. I actually have basis for that. Your basis is just that I don't like it, right? That's it. That's all you're saying.
No, that's your basis. You're saying, personally, my value, if you're asking about it, how can you practically implement the thousands of abortions that happen under your values? You can't. So practically, and if we want the benefits...
No, yeah, so I can give general rules, right, for legal implications, right? You can still hold to rules. We're just going over what our moral beliefs are.
Well,
our moral beliefs are separate from the legal. Do you want to go over the legal?
Well, I want to pursue the point that if your opinions are correct, if your opinions are morally correct in today's moral values...
I don't believe in objective morality, so it's just going to be my own preference.
Well, then I don't see how that's practical. I think maybe it's...
Wait, dude, what does it mean for something to be wrong independent of what I care about? Can you just tell me?
I think it's good for you that you want to sort of present your point, but...
No, Matt, can you tell me what it means for something to be wrong independent of what I care about?
For something to be wrong?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more the fact that so let's say we're allowing the abortion. So would you be happy if you were the one that got these abortions allowed and thousands of babies died when the baby would have had a good life and the mother and the baby would have, both lived and they both had good quality of life? Would you be happy with that?
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
So would you be happy with thousands of babies, for example, dying because you've implemented abortion, you've allowed it to happen, and these babies have died for no reason? So the quality of life of the mother was good.
Yeah. So you're talking about prior to sentience, yeah.
So you would allow that?
Yeah, absolutely.
then I just think that that's absurd, you know. And obviously,
Well, why is it absurd, right? Because you're talking about literally putting people in a circumstance where they have to give up their bodily resources to another individual. Think of the crown, I appreciate, to develop that one's body, right? For the sole purpose of them in the future possibly, right?
I don't see how,
Like in some sort of valuable sense. That's all you're saying.
I would just say, like, I do, in a way, I do.
There has no experience there. There's no subjective experience.
In a way, I'm gonna say, and then I think I'm gonna leave. Right? I do.
No, I'll just ask you this reductio first. Like, do you think it is okay for a family to pull the plug on someone who's brain dead?
I don't think that's relevant. I think that's a different discussion. But
Can you answer the question?
my personal view on abortion is not based on sentience, so
Okay.
I don't think that's relevant.
Thank you for the cat. I appreciate it. Well, can you answer the question?
So pull the plug on someone who's brain dead.
Yeah. Do you think a family should legally be allowed to do that?
I think in each situation there'd be a different answer. But if I was to give one answer to many different situations, I would say yes, because most commonly, right, if that person is actually brain dead, most commonly the most beneficial result of that would be that the person is sort of relieved. I guess that's more spiritual and it's more people's emotions, right? Keeping them on wouldn't really do anything, but it would improve the lives of other people. So I believe.
Yeah, but they're still living.
Yep, they are. I think in the most common situation, that person being, you know, taken off life support, most commonly would benefit people. So yeah. Just
Okay,
like
so now we're talking about the benefit people. So abortion would benefit people most, like abortion being legal. Therefore, abortion should be illegal. Is that a good argument?
No, because I think most commonly abortion and the killing of things or potential things is not beneficial.
How? Why so? Because it's not sentient in the same sort of way that the brain dead individual is not sentient.
Well, and like you said, every situation is if people have, like, if there are spiritual reasons, for example, that this person or this to-be person, why at 15 when they become, like, why is that now like a person? You know what I mean? That's your clarification.
When
of a
it's
person.
sentient, the same way that once it's alive, it would be a person under your view.
I think you can classify many things as alive, right? I mean, you're on about a baby being sentient, but I go back to my point. If a mentally ill person wanted to kill themselves, right, that person is sentient. If, for example, okay, if I wanted to chop off both my legs, it would save me a lot of money on clothes, right? That would benefit me.
Yeah.
My legs are not
clarify?
sentient. My legs are not sentient, and I want to cut them off. It would benefit me. I'd spend less money on trousers.
How about
Would you support-
I'll give you this argument, right? It's based upon reasonability, okay? So we know that it's likely that someone is unreasonable if they want to cut off their legs or cut off their arms, given that it doesn't have positive benefits, right? It is unlikely, right? And in the scenario in which someone gets an abortion, we know that it is very likely that someone is rational if they're getting an abortion.
But earlier you said that you would let a mentally ill woman get an abortion. That's not reasonable for a mentally ill person. If they're manic, it's not reasonable that any decision they make is, you know, based in their own thoughts and not, you know, whatever.
Yeah. My determination in that scenario would be that it's most beneficial to allow them to get it in that particular scenario, as it would not be detrimental to their health, particularly.
So what if they? But you can't guarantee. You can't guarantee this person, if they keep the baby, right, and they have it in this sort of manic state, and say they get out of it and they think, oh, like, thank God I saved the baby. You can't sort of clarify every single case by one more.
I think it's more likely, given that they would want this to happen, even if they're manic, for it to be the case that they would be better off without the pregnancy there.
And then but I think that's just. I just disagree.
Given that was what they wanted there.
There's nothing I can really say because I just disagree. There's nothing I can.
Point. So you know
So
that
I personally think if abortion is to be allowed, then I think every single thing a person wants to do with their body should also be allowed. And obviously that's where we disagree.
No, you don't have to hold to that. That would be if you're holding a generalist position, or you're saying that this is a principle or applicable in every single scenario.
Well, I think you need to have these
I'm not
principles.
arguing.
I think you have to, when you're implementing.
Give me a principle.
Well, when you're implementing abortion, you have to say, okay, you have to write these down, you have to make the laws, you have to define sort of the terms for everything, right? So you have to define the terms for, you know, how marriage would happen, or how, you know, in every law there are terms, right? You can't just say abortion is allowed if it's morally right, because moral is, you know, a personal view.
Yeah, that's exactly the whole basis of morality. Is a personal view. We'll give
how-
explanations as to why we hold these particular intuitions.
So how would you implement abortion that would be completely morally, in your opinion, true? How would you implement it?
Yeah, you can get an abortion up until 15 weeks. Right after that point, right, you can get an abortion if you did not cause the pregnancy. Right, because I hold to a causal obligation stance.
Okay, and that's your opinion.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do. So, I mean, my opinion would be different. I would say if we were to allow abortion, then the most common result of abortion would be negative, I think. So, and that's just my opinion. There's nothing.
Why is it negative?
Because personally, and I think in my moral opinion, right, I'm quite spiritual, you know, so I think spiritually, in my morals, which I think they're both connected, I think that'd be bad. Because that person could have a life.
So spiritually, you mean religious?
Not necessarily. No, just more spiritually.
What do you mean by spiritually?
Well, I mean that, you know, humans have. I think it's hard to describe, but personally, I like the idea and thought that a sweet baby could die. Even though I'm not religious myself personally, I do hold to like sort of spiritual values. I don't know how to describe them, but.
So you just mean nothing to do with spirituality. You just mean that, right, I care about it at this point. That's it.
No. I feel like maybe I'm not religious, so to speak, but I feel like that if a baby is in the womb, then, or a fetus is in the womb, I think that it should be allowed to live. That's just my opinion. And you obviously have a different opinion. You have a bit more terms, but I feel like when you're implementing
only if it's in the womb, so you don't care about the life of conception. You care about it once it's implanted into the uterine wall.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion, right?
Oh, so what's the distinct quality between the to the fetus, I mean, not to the fetus, the zygote, prior to implantation and then after?
And that's just my spiritual morals. Like, that's my...
So so it's location.
No. Morally, I mean, maybe I'm not.
But why?
All the terms of a pregnancy.
Because I gave you sentience, right?
Yep.
I gave you equality, right? You're not giving me equality. You're just saying location change.
Well, I feel like, I mean, I still don't have my point I'm trying to get across is, I feel like you cannot just classify this one abortion procedure as the termination of things inside of you, right? And I wouldn't call it an amputation, but you're cutting out or removing a bit of you, right?
No, but if you take the abortion pill, you're not cutting anything.
Well, you're removing.
Are you okay with the abortion pill?
Body. I'm not too sure. I don't know.
That's just cutting off resources to the fetus, or not to the fetus, the embryo.
Then maybe if abortion was to be implemented, then I think I would allow that, as well as I would allow pills that cut off things, anything. I think when you can't allow one part of the body for the person to have a choice on, just because morally you think that body part is like, you know, some people think it's sacred and some people think it's just like anything else, right?
No, I never said just because it was sacred. I literally gave you reasons as like quality of life concerns, other stuff like that, right?
And I'm saying that's specific, that's individual.
No, that's my individual desire, right? That's all morality.
I think for each individual pregnancy, there are different quality of life aspects, and, you know, for example, the father, how would that affect the father if his
but in most scenarios, the quality of life aspects are going to be very clear within the case of the abortion.
Do you have any evidence?
It's not going to be clear.
Do you have evidence to support that?
Yeah, like that. I would say that I would agree with most abortions.
Well, that's just you said. Like, where's the evidence? You're defending.
That's what I agree with, right?
But is it true?
Yeah.
How would you know?
Because it's the preference.
No, but how do you know that the majority of abortions have improved the quality of life?
Oh, sorry, improved quality of life. Oh, I can send you a study on that.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Thank you. But and
it's also linked to my Discord. Yeah, there are many studies that show that the beneficial impacts of abortion.
And
on
then
quality
maybe
of
if
life.
maybe if I read them, I'd change my opinion. But currently, I feel like you cannot take the stance, and I'm going to end with this. You cannot take the stance that you allow the termination and the killing of some things and not others, right? And I just think that's because you cannot.
In the case of self-defense, you can kill things, right?
I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure.
Wait, if someone's trying to kill you, can you kill them?
I mean, what if you're a pacifist? You know, you cannot. You're generalizing something.
I'm asking your view.
Well, no,
pacifism is
No, I need
terrible.
because when you want to win, you sort of generalize these things. You say if someone's attacking you, in self-defense,
Are you a pacifist?
then when I ask you a general question, you take it back to, well, it depends on the situation. You need to accept that.
Yeah, in some things it does, but if you give me a specific circumstance, like I just said, I would answer.
Yeah, but I'm not. When I ask you general questions, you don't answer, and then you ask me general questions.
When did I not answer a general question?
Okay, my general question is, and you say, well, I focus on the specifics. So my general question is, what if there was a manic person, right, and they had a baby, and they wanted to have an abortion, sorry, not have a baby. So a manic person who wasn't making any right decisions wanted to have an abortion. You would allow that. Even though,
so it's going to be based on the quality of life concerns. We've already gone over this.
Yeah, even though.
So if I gave you a study showing that quality of life generally increases given the fact that people get an abortion, would you be okay with it?
Well, no, because you can't define it. Like, you could say that's why you should, I don't know, cut off the balls of every rapist, right? Because the quality of life of all females.
You can't say that word, by the way, on the live. You have to say grape or R word or essay.
Okay, well,
TikTok TOS.
The quality of life of these women who are being, attacked, they would improve if you did that to every rapist.
Okay.
So you would allow that?
Right. If it were to lead to, if there's a study that would indicate that doing this particular thing would lead to that, yeah, sure.
So you would support, I don't know, the murder of all prisoners, right?
No, I mean, we don't have evidence of that now. As what's most effective is for prison systems. What we see is what's it called? Like the rehabilitation systems, not like these. These don't really provide as a deterrent for these types of behavior, so it doesn't actually benefit.
So I
right?
think
It actually leads to, it doesn't deter. One, two, it also it doesn't change them, and then two, it also the 4% of people in death row are innocent. So
when you classify all your opinions, so you're pretty much saying if something improves the quality of life, you'll allow it, right? So if improves someone's quality of life,
generally, not in all circumstances,
because you can't, and that's what you're saying. Generally, you do. If you were to implement this, there are so many situations where it might not be, and I think those situations would take the majority in where abortion and quality of life. I know you said there's a study, but I feel like you need to look into these other things, and that may make you change your mind. For example, cutting off a limb. That's another situation where it may improve the quality of life. And if you follow that quality of life principle,
if quality of life is increased, given that if quality of life is very much increased, given that they did this, yeah, I would. Like if it's going to save their life, you already agreed that they should be able to do it.
If it saves someone's life,
yeah, if they're going to unalive themselves if they can't cut their limb off, right?
Well, then
in a
that's
safe
not guaranteed,
amputee type manner, would you do it? Would you let them do it?
I think you cannot guarantee that this person will kill themselves.
Would you let them do? So you would say no.
I mean, so some people say they're going to put the baby up for adoption as soon as they have it.
No, so would you say no?
Say no to what?
Yeah, so they're going to unalive themselves if they can't cut off the limb. Would you just?
How do you prove that they're going to kill themselves?
We don't know how to prove that. We would say that they have a past of this type of stuff. They've tried multiple times in the past.
That's not proof, is it?
Well, it could indicate that it's likely.
It could, yeah, but it doesn't prove anything.
Okay, then what's your notion of proof?
Well, I think to prove something, I think you can only really do it like mathematically. You can't prove anything
like based on likelihood, right? We just said it was most likely. So
exactly.
Like again,
so you have probability, but I feel like give a baby and they have the baby and then they decide if they want to keep it or
no. What's your notion of proof? Proof.
Well, how would
Is it what's most likely?
I think what's most probable.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just held to. I just told you it was most probable. You agree it was most probable, and then you disputed it.
No, I think, well, you can go into the detail of this one situation. I don't think someone can fail at killing themselves. I think it's very easy to kill yourself, and if you fail...
Oh, wait, it actually does... Wait, no, this is actually recorded. This is why men still have a higher self-unaliving rate than women, because women attempt it significantly more. They just don't... They don't follow through with it every single time, right?
No,
it doesn't always work,
it's very easy
and they
to
pick less dangerous methods of doing so.
Exactly, and I think if you
So
really want...
there is the notion of failing. What are you talking about?
I think, I mean, this is completely irrelevant, but I'll say, I feel like no one, if you truly want to kill yourself, it's very, very easy to do so. I think if you fail, then...
Can you say self-unalive, by the way?
Oh, yeah. So, I think mentally, your brain is preventing you. You know, you have that instinct, and, you know, it maybe risk your death, but it's not, you know, deep down that you're not going to die. Just like many people who eat paracetamol, it's very easy to look up the deathly dose of paracetamol. They take slightly less and stuff like that. So I think when men go to situations like these to kill themselves, and this is completely irrelevant, so I want to get back on topic.
Again, can you say self-unalive?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate the wingman. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
If they want to, you know, self-unalive, then they would follow through, and they would use a method that's appropriate and that works. Whether if females want to do so, they would use, you know, methods that are less likely to work, because deep down, you know, maybe it's for attention, maybe it's for themselves, and they just want to risk death or something like that. But there's nothing I can really generalize by that. You have to look at each situation sort of specifically. But if you were to implement a suicide law, you would have to generalize it through the most common, like, reason. So
can you say what you just said again? I didn't pick up what you're saying.
So I'm trying to, my point I'm trying to get at is, you can look at each, like, thing that happened specifically, right? You can look at every event specifically. And
no, can you say exactly what you said again?
I don't remember, but I can remake my point. You can't specifically look at every
Wait,
event.
you were saying that they were doing it for attention?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that that's likely to determine that scenario. I think that's a very unlikely assertion. Can you give me evidence?
I think one possibility.
Can you give me like a study that indicates that people who have attempted are just doing it for, like, attention?
Well, I don't
like, in most circumstances?
I mean, obviously, I know a lot of people who...
Can you give me a study?
That's the only proof.
Can you give me a study, sir?
I could look. I don't have one in hand, but I think that is an option. Some people...
Yeah, so I wouldn't make that type of claim until you have some type of study or some type of most probable evidence. Anecdotal evidence is not most probable when it relates to these types of claims.
Well, from my perspective and from people who I've talked to, it is common, and it does happen. People...
Yeah, so that's going to be a claim about those people you know, not about most people who are women. Okay?
No, and it's not just women, but you brought up this point of... You know,
thank you. I appreciate the confetti. Thank you so much. Or men even, right? So that's not going to be a claim about most people just because a few people in your life did that. Right?
No, I think you're getting something irrelevant to just try and sort of stir away from the point.
I'm literally not.
Well, it's the same argument that you make in everything, right? I agree. If you looked at every situation specifically. Right, so instead of having laws, if you had someone whose moral values were most generally shared by the most, they looked at, I don't know, every case, and they said, well, they should go to jail or they shouldn't, right? Or they should pay a fine or they shouldn't. So I feel like that would be an ideal world. But when you're implementing stuff like this, so pro-choice or pro-life, or, you know, implementing these abortion laws, you can't look at each situation specifically, and you can't, if after 15 weeks. This is you added in, if they chose to have the baby, then it should not be allowed. But if they didn't, then it should be, right? That's your own choice, and that's your moral sort of compass saying, if they didn't want to have the baby, they should be able to completely sort of, you know, kill it. But if they gave birth to that baby, for example, so if they you said after 15 weeks...
I'm so confused what you're trying to say, bro. Like, I really have no clue. Like, I'm trying to comprehend.
I'll say it very simply. In an ideal world,
it's not that you need to say it simply, bro. It's like, I don't even know what the point's relating to.
In an ideal world, right, we could look at each situation specifically with general morals that majority of people share, right?
Like, are you just saying that, like when we talk about legal implications, right? We have general rules that we apply. What's most likely to apply to people is what we want to apply when it comes to legality.
I think your point is just that there's nothing I can really say. It's just an argument of morals. There's no more I can say. But I mean, thank you. I guess there's nothing.
Okay, I have no clue what you're saying, but okay. Have a good day, Ben. I don't get it. Top of the screen, everyone. Let's try to get to 250,000 likes. If you disagree, send a guest request right now. Please only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, I'm 30.
For sure. Are you pro-life?
No, I'm not. I was just wondering why you say 15 weeks. I'm pro-choice. Yeah, I'm under the impression actually it's 20 weeks for the cerebral cortex to get developed. So I just never seen any evidence that it's 15.
Yeah, so 15 is precautionary. 18 is the earliest I've seen indicated that it could be likely. Cerebral cortex is not 20. It's around like 18, right? Or it could even be possibly earlier.
Yeah,
than
it's
that.
like 18 and 20.
Indicate.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's 18 to 25.
18 to 25. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the necessary parts for them to interact with each other really aren't until like 24 to 28. So
the cortical connections, the thematical. There have been 4 cases in which there have been like humans with sentience that did not have the thematical cortical connections. So that's why it indicates that there is a likelihood chance of it being prior to that point. That's why I established like a precautionary sense a bit early. But I would agree that like we could even establish a most probable sense within the 24 range or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So after 20 or after 15 rather, what's your stance on that?
After 20, if it was after 20?
Or 15, you said 15, whatever it is you said, yeah.
It's just a causal up to that point.
Okay, so only if like the mother's health is at risk, or
health at risk if they haven't caused it, so like grape, children, stuff like that.
Well, what about, because there's I mean, I know 21 weeks and later is only like 1% of abortions, but many of those are ones that couldn't afford it until that time, unfortunately, because just due to healthcare,
universal healthcare.
Well, yeah, then we're getting into whole another thing, but yeah. So I personally just say after 20 weeks, they can just have an early birth, you can call it, or an abortion that doesn't lead to the unaliving of it. So they can do a C-section.
Induction of labor. So yes. Induction of labor at those points at 24 weeks, 40% of those die. 60% that are left, a lot of those have long and short-term complications after, right? So that's not a process that I would be in support of. We'd probably have to wait a few more weeks at least until there's a greater likelihood of it not negatively impacting them.
Well, that's true, but if it's between that and just aborting it with the intent, or not with the intent, but using another method that would for sure end the life, because I'm trying to protect bodily autonomy too. So I'm just trying to find that good halfway. It's a tough battle.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't like the bodily autonomy arguments there, because essentially it seems like we would do the exact same thing outside of the womb. I just don't see a reason.
What do you mean?
Reality. So if say that they're in like a forest or something like that, right? They gave birth to the kid, right? Yeah. And they don't want to take care of it anymore.
Sure.
Right? Can they just leave it there to die?
So they're in the forest, and is there food in the forest? Are there things like that?
There's berries and stuff on the trees and.
Well, no, because we already have laws in place for, and again, maybe in this situation, you might not be referring to that, but there's already laws in place for, child protection and taking care of.
We're not talking about laws, we're talking about morals here.
Just straight up morals?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I obviously wouldn't say yeah to that, but.
Yeah, so so if they have the obligation outside of the womb to sustain them, what's the difference inside of the womb and outside of the womb as to why they have that obligation?
Yeah. So I'm not like super well versed on the bodily autonomy argument. I mean, I know a decent amount, but I'm sure some people would have some sort of argument to that. Maybe
The ones I've heard is like the level of obligation is too much. It's not as
yeah, that's
convincing
sort of
to me,
arbitrary.
though. Yeah, it is arbitrary. But I mean, any of these are.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and the thing with bodily autonomy. Use the consciousness thing. I prefer that. If you know, like the debater Destiny,
Yeah.
if you know who that is, yeah, he uses it as well. But anyways, one last thing before I go. Apparently, not apparently, I was in Q-Top's Alive yesterday, and he gets really upset when people call him Q-Tip. Like, he just went crazy. So if anybody wants to annoy him, go for it.
For sure. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely. Have a good one, man. Okay.
Yo, what's up? How old are you?
23.
Thank you for the butterfly. I appreciate it, Teishi. Thank you so much. Are you pro-life?
Yes, sir.
Why so?
Well, Mr. Peter, well, let me ask you this first, actually, because this was kind of crazy. Just real quick. You would really not cut your arm off for 1 million people? I mean, cut your arm off for 1 million people?
I would. Yeah, the other person wouldn't.
What? A million people
wouldn't.
you don't know?
Yeah, they would. Yeah, he said 1 billion, actually.
Well, I mean, 1 billion's a little bit of a different story, but 1 million?
Yeah, no, I would cut my arm off for 1 million people, absolutely.
Ah, you're too nice, Parker.
Dude, it's 1 million people burning alive.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm really pro-life or pro-choice. Well, I'm not pro-choice, but I really just have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
The problem I have with pro-choice people is really just the reasoning they like put behind why they're pro-choice. Like, why is it okay for somebody to abort a fetus, but it's not okay for them to kill or spill a 5-year-old? Like, what's the difference?
Yeah, so like I hold the view on sentience, so you can't do it in the womb once they're sentient.
On sentient. So, okay, so you believe like before sentience, that's like not human development?
No, it's human, right? It's human life. It's just not human sentient life.
Okay, so you're like, I'm not gonna say you're pro spilling humans, but like,
Yeah, I
just,
don't care if you wanna get an abortion prior to sentience.
but that's not a
What
human.
is it?
Like,
What
you
is it? What is a
you wouldn't
human?
agree that that's a human?
It's a
You are a
human, yeah.
human.
But I
I'm a
mean,
human.
sperm is human.
Sperm. I don't like this argument. Sperm is definitely not human.
Definitely. Wait. What species is it? When
No,
it
Parker,
comes out of
let's,
a human, what species is it?
let's not do this, Parker. If I cut
Well,
my
no, what
finger
species
off,
is it,
that
bro?
human?
Is it human?
It's of human species, yes, but it's not a
Oh,
human.
okay, so it is human. There we are.
No, it's not. No, it's of human.
So what is a
species.
human?
It's a human. It's a
A living human organism? Okay, so is a sperm.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said.
So what is
So
it?
again, if I cut my finger off and I'm just myself without one finger, is my finger a human?
Well, it's made out of human DNA. It's
Right,
not
it's
living
made out of
anymore.
human
Rachel,
DNA. It's
thank you
not
so
a
much for the
human.
hand art. I appreciate it, Rachel. It's not living anymore, so no, it wouldn't be human.
Okay, so would a fetus be human?
Or actually, wait, no,
Or
you could.
whatever
Okay,
you guys
actually,
call-
let me tell
It's just I'm against the reasoning they put behind why they're pro-choice.
you. I'll just
try
ask
to
you this
act like
question, right? Let's say that you're in a burning building, right? On one end,
You asked me.
I've asked you this before. Would you answer?
Yeah, right.
Did you
Go
answer
ahead,
the two
say it again.
zygotes?
I kind of don't remember.
Okay, so
Ask it again.
yeah, so on one end of the room with the burning building, there are two zygotes that in the future will be implanted into a uterine wall and will be human beings like me and you. And on the other side, right, there is a newborn baby crying. Okay, would you rather save the newborn baby or the two zygotes?
I feel like I wouldn't judge a person on their decision, but me personally,
I would.
The baby.
Yeah, of course you would, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like obviously there's a huge distinction between the level of value that we place upon a newborn and the level of value that we place on a zygote. And I would ask you why?
Why is that? Yeah, I was
Sentience.
about to ask you. You
Sentience.
said sentience?
Yeah, sentient. I would absolutely judge someone for saving the 2 zygotes because
No,
they're not
Parker,
sentient at
Parker.
all.
Oh, no.
If it was 10 zygotes, okay, would you rather save the 10 zygotes or the
But they're
one
a part of
newborn
human
baby?
development, though.
10 zygotes, right, which is a fertilized egg, by the way. Right, or the one newborn baby.
So you're basically saying 10 pregnant women is what you're saying.
10, no.
Or are you talking about
Zygotes,
petri
zygotes
dishes?
are the fertilized egg.
That's what I'm saying. Are you saying petri dishes or are you saying 10 pregnant
Petri
women?
dishes, they're going to be implanted into a uterine wall later. But that process will happen, and they will be human beings like me and you. That's the assumption for the
Oh,
hypothetical.
the 10 people. The 10 people. Are you
The
crazy?
10 future
Exactly.
people over the
Over the one
the
person.
one newborn.
Yes. That's 10 people.
So you'd
right?
you'd
That
save
goes back
10
to your logic.
single cell organisms over a newborn baby that's crying and is going to burn alive.
It's not about the single cell organism. It's about them being a part of human development and them being potentially humans. That's what it's about.
Okay.
One life versus 10 lives.
So do you care about, say, like we had a contraption, or there's sperm on one side, egg on the other, we click a button, they're moving towards each other, it's going to be a human life in about 5 hours, okay? Do you care about the sperm and the egg prior to conception?
No,
Wait, but it's a part of the human development.
that's not a part of human development.
It is.
Human
It's gonna be a
development
human
starts
being.
At conception, when they touch each
Yeah,
other.
but it's
Now
but it's like
it
it's a
has-
part of this process.
No, sir.
So you only care about it once there's life. Okay. Do you think it's okay
Once
for
there's
a,
conception.
do you think it's okay for a family to pull the plug on someone who's brain dead?
Now, again, I wouldn't judge somebody on their choice, but me personally, no. Because
No.
I know people. Yeah, no.
No, not coma, brain dead. Which means
Oh,
they're
no,
never
not
coming
coma?
back.
Oh,
Coma,
no.
obviously,
Yeah.
I'm against people like pulling the plug on people in a coma.
I mean, somebody can be brain dead and come back.
No, that would be a coma.
What do you mean? You just asked me brain dead, and so when you say brain dead, you just mean no chance of coming back, basically.
Yeah, it means that they don't have sentience and they never will.
Then I will pull the plug. That never word is very important.
Yeah. Okay.
No
So
potential and never.
okay. So the idea here is that you're gonna have to have like a conjunction of characteristics, and what a conjunction is that this and this means value. So under my view, it's past or present and future subjective experience. Under your view, you'd probably have to hold to a life and future subjective experience, right? If you want to get around this issue.
So is that a question, or you were just?
No,
telling me?
I'm literally just giving you the way out. Like I literally just told you the view to take. If you still want to hold to those arguments, right? You can do life and future subjective experience. Like I just gave you the view.
I don't even know how this conversation went this way, and if I'm being honest, I didn't really understand what you just said. But I'm gonna just ask this question again: is it okay to kill? Spill unalive a human? In your eyes, that's helpless.
Only if it's not sentient, right? And has never been sentient, right? And never will be sentient in the future, given those two conditions. So again, past
Oh,
or
so
present
only-
and future subjective experience.
You said never will be sentient.
Yeah, never has and never will. Well, I mean, there could be a sense in which
Never.
it will be in the future, right? But it
That's what I'm
hasn't
saying.
established it in the past. So let me clarify.
So it
I'm just saying
hasn't-
past
in a-
or present and future subjective experience. That's what I'm saying.
So a fetus wouldn't have that.
No, a
But
fetus
it's not
once it has
sentient yet.
sentience does. Once if it
Or
doesn't have
zygote,
sentient
I mean,
yet,
a
it is not
zygote.
established past or present sentience yet. So again, it's past or present and future.
So a zygote. I mean, a zygote wouldn't have that because it wouldn't have it in the past. It doesn't have sentience yet.
Zygote wouldn't have it in the past.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't have it in the past, yeah. Or present. Yeah, it's never existed yet. In the same way that like the sperm and the egg are not life yet. Thank you. I appreciate the sail away. Thank you.
Yeah, that's not what a zygote is, though.
A
You said
zygote's a
the sperm and
fertilized
the
egg.
egg isn't. Right. Somebody asked, why do you care? You said you would let a born baby burn alive. Anyway, my whole thing is just the human development part. I feel that, you know, unaliving a fetus is the same as unaliving a 5, 10, 15-year-old. They all have potential and they're all a part
Well, okay,
of
so if
human
it's the exact
development.
same thing, then why'd you save the newborn baby over the 2 zygotes? Because if it was the same thing, then it would be 2 over 1. You'd save the 2 over the newborn baby.
One has a little bit more potential, but that's just me. I could see how somebody would say they'll save the 2 zygotes. Now, when you said 10,
No,
I
it's
kinda
2
seen a little
versus
more
1.
value.
It's 2 versus 1. There's no
Yeah,
difference in
but,
potential as these two these two will for sure. Thank you for the sunglasses. I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you so much, man.
I mean, when you put it like that, I'll pick the 2, because if you're saying for sure, without a doubt, the baby will live for 100 years. The 2 people, the 2
So you
zygotes
pick
will
the
live
2
100
single
years.
cell organisms over the newborn baby that's gonna burn alive.
Yes, I know people would hear that and be like,
What about the
"Oh,
experience of the
shock
newborn
jock."
baby? Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much on the daily. I appreciate it. Thank you for that
mean,
mustache. I appreciate it, Jason.
If there was a fire, they'd have to come to a conclusion that this is reality. You'd have to make a decision. It doesn't matter about the experience at that point. There's 2 burning buildings with 3 people. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's clear you pick the newborn baby, right? So that's gonna be an absurdism, but sure, right?
I mean, you can try to do the the debate tricks and stuff, but I'm genuinely telling you.
No,
right
it's
now,
called the reductio ad absurdism. So it's to reduce the view either to an absurd
The debate
claim or a
tricks.
contradiction. Thank you on the daily. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much.
I just know if the 2 zygotes would live to 100 years,
Ashley, I appreciate the
baby would live
subscription.
to
Thank you so
100
much. I
years.
appreciate it.
I would take them. And you know, I feel like people should start saying what it is more. Like when you kill a fetus, when you unalive a fetus, you are unaliving a human. If people would say that, I don't think people would really have a problem with them. Like it wouldn't really be a debate. It just is what it is.
Yeah, it's not a person, right? Because it's not sentient.
It is a person though. It is.
Under your view,
Definitely
right?
is
But
a
like, I
person.
just don't see it to be morally relevant.
How
Right.
is that not a fact?
Because
and it's
in the
not
same way that you
real?
don't value the brain dead individual, so like the point
There's
I
no
would say is
potential
that
with
it's
that.
never going to be sentient. If it was going to be the case that it will be sentient and it will be a person, well then it would be wrong to do something to it, right? But it will never exist in that sort of capacity.
How do you not see the contradiction in that?
What's the P and not P? What's the contradiction?
The brain dead person has no potential and the zygote has potential.
Yeah, so it's not a contradiction. Clearly not a contradiction. Thank you for the hand. I appreciate it. But I feel like what you're trying to get to there is that like there is a future in one scenario, but there's not future in the other.
That's what I said, potential.
Right. I'm saying it's the same within the respect that they're not sentient at the moment. Thank you for the good evening. I appreciate it. Right. So that's
it's-
what I was relating to.
Okay.
So in the same way that they will never exist again, this will never exist.
So
That's
a
what I
baby
was
will
saying.
never, a fetus will, or a zygote will never become sentient. Or is there
Yeah.
a possibility?
Yeah. No.
that they will
If there
become
is an
sentient?
abortion, a lethal abortion, right, it will never become sentient.
Well, obviously, we're debating the before the abortion part.
Thank you. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So you have to say that something's valuable prior to that point. Thank you, Brie. I appreciate that mustache.
So what if I say my 5-year-old's not valuable to me,
Well, I mean, I still hold value to your 5-year-old because they're sentient.
but I don't though?
Well, yeah, that I would just disagree with you there. I think that's an absurd standpoint.
So there's just no. I'm not really trying to change your mind, but there's no like really making you see that a zygote.
Yeah, like
is
what's the relevant distinction between you and a 5-year-old? That means the 5-year-old isn't valuable, but you are. Thank you for the hint. I appreciate it, Brie.
You said that kind of fast. I didn't really.
What's
hear
the
you.
relevant distinction between the 5-year-old and you? That means it's wrong to kill you, but not the 5-year-old.
Can you word that differently? I'm a little slow.
What is the relevant difference between you and a 5-year-old that means that it's wrong to kill you but not the 5-year-old? Thank you for the cat. I appreciate it.
Exactly. I would say that to you. Why is it right to unalive a zygote, but
Sentience.
or sentience? I wish there was another situation in that.
Thank you for the
other
hint.
than
I
the
appreciate it,
brain dead
Candy.
thing.
You don't like the fact that I can say that, right? Because I actually haven't answered the question.
It's an absurd answer, though.
It's not an absurd answer.
Do you not value potential? Like, is potential just not?
No, potential is valuable once there is a past or present established.
Can you break that down a little more? That's the third time you said that, and I kind of.
Yeah, so there's a conjunction of characteristics, past or present, and future subjective experience. So if it just has past, does not have the value. If it just has future, it does not have the value. It has to have both those characteristics simultaneously, right? Past or present and future, right? In order to have value.
So it has to have been and potentially have something to do.
Huh?
That I get what you're saying. That's not. I guess I'm gonna take that back to the Matt guy. Like, I know you don't believe in objective morality, but like your morality and your spirituality are like intertwined. I don't know if some people can feel that more than others. I don't know, but I think.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to go over and talk about then?
No. I want to tell everybody again. Just remember the 2 words: human development. That's
okay, for sure.
When you wanna unalive your baby.
Human development. Human development. Human development. Human development. I'm gonna make sure to remember that.
Hello.
What's up?
Doing good, thank you. And you?
Thank you for the confetti. I appreciate it, BBY. Are you pro-life?
Yes, I'm pro-life.
Why?
Because I believe that no one should be
Thank you, Magician. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you.
allowed to kill people, or a human life just because.
Right now?
So do you think
And
that...
I believe that we should put in place some laws to prevent those kind of things.
So do you think that you should be able to pull the plug on someone who's brain dead? Like if you're the family?
This is another situation. This is not the same thing as pregnancy.
I'm just asking.
It depends, because some people are brain dead and they cannot be helped or saved. So that might be one choice that people will make, not because they want to make it, but because the situation forced them to make it. It's not something that they will.
No, it doesn't force them. They can keep them on a machine until they decompose. Right? They're still human life. So if you say that human life is a valuable characteristic, it still exists in the situation. Therefore, there would be no reason in which you would allow for that to occur.
Yeah, and the reason is the fact that they might be brain dead and that they will never have a normal life again, and that might be an exception based on the context of the situation.
That might be an exception to what?
Based on the context of the situation. Which is the fact that
what though?
The fact that the person can and will never be a person anymore.
The canon will never be what's a person?
A person is a being who is from the species who is from the human species.
A brain dead individual from the human species.
Yeah.
And it's living too. So it's a person?
Yeah, it's a person.
So you're thinking
it's a person, but the thing that keep this person alive are things that are external to the natural way of living or the thing that could help him stay alive.
Yes, same thing with a person who's in a coma.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can you pull the plug on someone who's in a coma?
Can you pull the plug? It depend. It depend.
What does it depend on? I don't think you should be able to pull the plug on someone who's in a coma.
If this person is, as I said, brain dead, that would be a situation where.
Brain dead means they never come back. Coma means that they can come back. So the distinction is that...
Okay. If they can come back, so no, I would not do that.
Okay, yeah. So, but it's okay if they're never going to come back, right?
Yeah, if there is no hope for them to never.
Okay. Okay. So,
yeah.
so there's some sense of future subjective experience that you care about.
That could play into the.
So why isn't
situation.
your qualifier for rights subjective experience if you care about future subjective experience? Wouldn't it just be past and future subjective experience that you care about?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, if you care about future subjective experience, why don't you care about past subjective experience rather than life?
Because the one in the past cannot be lived anymore. As for the future, there can still be experience.
Well, you could say past or present. Present is current sentience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why not present sentience and future sentience?
I could say this. Can we make the perfect distinction between also present and future experience? Because 2 seconds ago is the past, and now that we're talking is the
one is happening, one will happen. That's the distinction.
Yeah, one will happen until it happen, and the future it's created every second, literally. So
I'm confused what your point is.
the future is being made every single second. Also, that's why I'm trying to tell you to make you understand.
The past, future, I guess. Like if you want to say it from that way, if we're talking in a relative sense.
Past, future. Yeah, no, I'm just telling you that we are in the present right now. But also, when we are being in the present, we're also living things that are in the future at the same time.
I'm confused what you're trying to say.
Because when every second pass, so we are moving forward in time, right? So we are moving toward the future every second that we are living, literally. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, what's the point?
When I'm telling you that I care about the future experiences, and that you take, for example, the present as a past, and I'm telling you that this present can also be considered as, to a certain extent, as a kind of future too.
Yeah, okay. I care about future insofar as there is a present or Does that make sense? So I don't care about just having a future. Like, if you care about just having a future, well, then there's going to be a scenario in which there is say a contraption in which there's an egg on one side, a sperm on the other. If I click a button where they're moving towards each other, they're going to fertilize pretty soon, right? Is it the case that you care about them prior to fertilization there because it's going to happen and there's a future subjective experience there?
There is no life. There is no human life being created before the.
There will, because the sperm and the egg fertilizing together will cause the human life.
Yeah, but there's still no human life.
They're not yet. So yeah. You don't.
So there is no human life to protect.
Yeah, exactly. The way I'm saying is that there's no sentience to protect, right? Does that make sense?
I'm not talking only about sentience. I'm talking about human life.
I know you're talking about human life, but yeah, I was giving you the comparison to the other view.
Okay.
Right? In the same, like, if you care about future subjective experience, My question is why is the first standard life? Like, why wouldn't it also be a subjective experience?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Not at all. I'm trying to rewind our thought. For example, you are talking about something, someone that will be in a coma, right? Me, I'm talking about a healthy human life. So, in different contexts, I will analyze the situation and take different decisions based on the context. So, I do not think that people should be allowed to kill healthy human life just because they want to kill it.
Okay, yeah. So I'm okay, right? I did. Are you
And we
gonna
should
respond
put
to what I said?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to rewind back because I felt that we were kind of off topic talking about present past, and I'm
That's
trying to.
honestly not off topic. We're talking about what determines moral value within a particular entity. That's
Yeah, and
completely relevant to the topic.
okay, that's why I reiterate for you the fact that my position is no one should be allowed to kill a healthy human life because they want to.
Okay.
So I'm
Right.
just making it clear my
all right,
position
I
about.
understand that position,
Yeah.
right? But I mean that doesn't
Okay.
respond to the point. Like so again, right? You think it should be the case in which someone who's brain dead, they are necessarily healthy. Or if you don't consider them healthy, then you're at risk of then saying you can unplug coma patients because they're not healthy.
Yeah, I could have considered it in a different way than if they were healthy.
Wait, so you think it's okay to unplug coma patients?
I think there is a better argument to unplug people that are in coma than for the killing of healthy human life.
I think there's no distinction.
I think there is a pretty important distinction.
And what is that?
The fact that one is perfectly innocent and healthy, and the fact that the other one is quite difficult and dire situation.
Yeah, so when my dad was in a circumstance where he needed to have like eat by like a machine, right? Was he less valuable in that circumstance than me?
It's not that he was less valuable, but I don't think that you will make any action that will put him in a willingly in a deadly situation.
I don't think that responded to anything I just asked.
That is a response because abortion is about putting something in a situation to kill it. And your father, you didn't put him in a situation to kill it. You just don't want to you don't want him to die because of external factor.
Oh, so
that's the
you're
difference.
saying the distinction is the cause.
That is a simple way to put it, but yeah, we could go with that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's more relevant for the cause to even entail an obligation if it's not with a person, right? Like I'm not going to have an obligation to an entity in which is not a person.
Oh, are you talking about the fetus and the situation?
Mm-hmm.
But
Like prior to
it is
sentience.
okay, but it is still a human life. So what is your argument for willingly being able to kill a human life?
Well, I mean, I don't see there to be an issue within the circumstance because it's not sentient, right? So like there are going to be way more positives from people being able to have access to abortion prior to sentience than if we were to make sentient or make abortions prior to sentience illegal.
Okay, can you realize that is a subjective standard? Like,
Yeah, of course it is.
okay, it is subjective. So by putting a subjective standard to justify the killing of the human, why can I not do the same thing
Yeah.
as
So
you?
wait, or do you think self-defense is justified?
Do I think that self-defense is what?
Justified.
Uh, what is the relevance of this?
You're justifying killing a human life based upon a subjective standard.
Abortion is not
That's
self.
what you just said. That's what you just said. It's built upon a wait. Do you believe in objective morality?
Objective morality.
Yeah.
It depends on the context, because we do not have the same morality for everything in life. So
What?
we do not have the
Is
same.
morality objective? Yes or no?
In some situation, it could be subjective, and in other, it could be based on objective factor. For example, the moral stance that I have, that you cannot kill a fetus, is based on the objective fact that this fetus is a human life. So in that circumstances,
That's a descriptive claim. Does not mean morality is objective just because something is descriptively true. So your preference about morality is what determines what's true about morality, not some independent standard.
as I told you, for abortion, that would be my definition. It would be an objective stance on morality.
It's not objective, right? All you're saying is that this is happening. Anything is happening. That means anything is objective under your view. Just because it happens doesn't mean it's objective in terms of right the truth about morality. This is the truth about the circumstance and how it occurred, but it's not necessarily the truth about morality. Thank you. I appreciate the hearts. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and yeah, you're right. I was saying that it would be objective based on the principle that we already have in our society. So if we think that we should protect human life and human are supposed to have rights, so based on that principle, it will be a morally objective to protect the human life, the fetus with the human life.
Yeah, so I mean that's going to be if you hold to that standard, right? I don't hold to just human life being valuable, right? It's going to be human sentient life. So that would be the distinction. Can you restate one of those claims again? Can you clarify? I mean, I didn't quite pick it up fully.
Sorry.
Want to make sure I respond. Did I respond to everything you just said? I want to make sure that I did. I don't think I picked up everything.
Yes, mostly. But as I already told you, here you're making a subjective claim. Okay, here's what you are saying.
Oh, you said it was objective. Sorry, my bad. So you wait. So what does objective mean to you?
I already told you that it was objective based on the principle that we already apply in society, like the morals that we already have in society. For example, the fact that...
So you mean descriptively speaking, people think that this is a moral? No, that's not what objective morality is referring to. So the difference between objective and subjective morality generally is going to be that objective morality is predicated off the idea that morality is true independent of like my stances, my desires, my attitudes, right? And subjective morality is making the claim that it's true dependent upon my stances, my attitudes, and my desires. So do you think morality is true dependent upon our stances and our desires, or independent of our desires and stances?
I think it is both.
That's contradictory. That's contradictory, okay? It can't be independent simultaneous, okay? That's contradiction.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I say that it is subjective.
Okay, well then I agree. So you agree that morality is predicated off of a subjective standard. So your justification for the ending of human life within self-defense is predicated off of a subjective standard, and you think that's justified.
And the context of self-defense, yeah, because the context is very important.
Yeah, of course, right? And the context in this situation is that they're not sentient.
Okay, and I'm telling you that if you're viewing things that way, you should agree to that. Me deciding that some people at a certain stage of their life, they are not as their life are not as valuable as other life just because it is at that stage of the human life. So you should agree with me wanting to kill people, hold people for the simple fact that I
No, they're
decided
sentient. They're
that I
sentient. You're just saying that we have an arbitrary standard. Any subjective standard is arbitrary, right? You caring about life rather than not caring about life is also a subjective standard. I don't know what your point is.
my point is you deciding that because they are not sentient, they can be killed. Why can I do the same thing on other standard? Why wouldn't you
It's gonna be
agree?
an absurd. It's gonna be an absurd notion, right? Uh,
Oh,
you understand that's the point.
why would it be absurd?
Yeah, because it's. I mean, clearly the circumstance is unintuitive.
Not in my opinion. Maybe for you.
Yeah, yeah, and you can hold that opinion, but everyone's gonna see that to be absurd.
I don't see it to be absurd because
That's
you
fine.
often
You can not. People can think it's not absurd if they're a P3D about like sleeping with children, but everyone else is gonna see that to be absurd.
yeah, but this is not the same thing, and this is merely not the same thing that I say. So you're literally by saying that they are not sentient, they are not sentient, so their life is not valuable. So you're telling
Yeah,
me
they
that
don't have past or present and future subjective
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
Therefore,
but
they don't have moral value under my view.
okay, so you agree that because of some of the nature of this stage of the human development life, you do not consider it as valuable as the other part of the human development.
Yeah, yeah. This is what
Okay,
I care about.
okay, nice. Now,
That's the preference that I
why
have.
okay,
Other
now,
people will have separate preferences, right? But this is the preference that I have.
okay, and okay, if you have that preference, why wouldn't you agree with me for having the another preference, but based on
That's
your
not my
same
preference.
standard?
It's not my preference.
But they are your standard.
What's up?
This is your standard. Your
What
standard is the
standard?
fact that you of one stage of the development
You
of
do
the
that
human life.
too, right? Life, right? Well, I mean,
I do not do that.
of life. Well, because you have the standard of life. Yeah, I could just say within humans. So then why don't you accept that you can kill other humans? Like that's just you're not responding to my point, right? My point is based upon the preference. The preference is different based upon the positions. This is applicable to any view that relates to the idea that morality is based upon preference. Okay, so this applies to your view the same way it applies to mine.
No, you previously take the example of the self-defense case, right?
Yeah, because you brought up human, like you think it's wrong to you justified killing human life because you justify killing human life with self-defense.
Yeah, but can we agree that self-defense is not a stage, a natural, the natural, it's not the stage of the natural development of a human life?
Dude, I don't know what your argument is. I don't give a fuck about human life at that particular moment. I care about it once it's sentient. Right? Just
Okay,
because you think it's okay just because I think it's okay to unalive some human life does not mean I think it's okay to unalive all different types of human life, right? Right? We're talking about non-sentient, never will be sentient, never has been sentient, right? That's what we're talking about. That's the scenario in which I think it's wrong. Does that make sense?
Okay, so why shouldn't we make a law to protect those life? Because they are not sentient. That would be your argument.
Yeah, they're not sentient,
Okay,
right? Therefore,
so if
there
I
would be
just
no
say,
law
okay,
to protect. Yeah.
okay, so if I say that I don't give a fuck also that they are not sentient, they need to be protected because they are simply um they're a part of the human race and they are human life.
Yeah, you
And
can
if I say
hold that
that,
preference, right? Morality is preference based. You can hold the logically consistent view that says that you value human life, right? I'm not disputing that, right? What I'm disputing is that that's just not my preference about morality. And I can give you counterexamples to accept one comparative to the other, right? But ultimately speaking, abortion boils down into the intuitions or the feelings that we have about these different circumstances happening. That's solely what morality is based on.
Okay, but do you think that it would be in accordance with our society if we didn't have laws to protect parents for killing their children? Will you agree with a society that allows
I think it's wrong
parents
for people to kill sentient children, yes.
and not their children?
That's not their children?
No, you say that it is for you it is immoral for parents to kill their sentient children. So if they weren't sentient, they can kill their children because they are not sentient. So the relationship, the natural
Yeah,
relationship.
if they don't, and by sentient it means past or present and future subjective experience. Yeah, so someone can get a lethal abortion prior to sentience. What are you trying to do here?
I'm trying to explain to you that I don't think that it is morally based to not to have a society where a mother, where it is normal for a mother to kill her children just because it does not value the life of her children at one stage of its development.
Literally, sperm and egg is a stage of development.
Okay, it is not a stage of development of the human life. That's different.
Yeah, but it's still a stage
So
of
what is your
development
point?
amongst humans.
What? Sorry.
So you're discriminating based upon the different stages of development amongst humans.
No, sperm isn't a human life, is it not? So I'm done discriminating against any stage of development since the sperm isn't a human life. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So it's not within human lives, but it's within humans.
It's within
human life from the one that you're distinctly talking about in terms of conception. Sperm, human life, that's a human life. Same with egg.
No, sperm is not a human life.
They
Stop saying that.
unironically are. They unironically are. They are
sperm
living.
is
They are
not
living
now.
human organisms. Okay.
Sorry.
That is. What is human life? Is a living human organism. These organisms are living and they're human. Okay.
No. Okay. That's a bad definition. A human life
What is a human
is
life?
an organism that is made to be to develop characteristic from a specific species. If you let a sperm on its own, it will never become a human. As if you let a fetus live, it will develop the characteristic of a human.
Wait. So what species is a sperm? From a human.
The human sperm is from the human species, but it's not a human life.
Human, so it's human. Okay. Is it living?
It's not a human life.
Is
not a
sperm
human
living?
life.
Is sperm living?
Yeah, it's living.
It is living. So if sperm is human and it's living, you're disputing the idea that it's human life, even though
I never
it's
said that.
human and living.
It's not it's a organism from the human species. That doesn't mean that it is a human life. It's like saying that your finger
Dude,
is a
Dude, so you are saying that a living human is not a human life.
okay by agreeing with you, it's like saying that a sperm is a human life.
Answer my question, right? Is a living human a human life?
A living human is a human life. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, so again, the sperm is living and it's human. Therefore, it's a human life. Where do you dispute?
The fact that you cannot have any human at any stage of the development of a sperm without the fertilization with the eggs. So you will have a human with a sperm. So if this organism
so what is a human?
A human is a living organism that is made to develop characteristic of a certain species. And
Wait. Sperm has characteristics of certain species. It literally has characteristics of human species. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? That
Oh,
definition
it
in
is
like
made
literally.
to develop. You know, listen. It is made to develop. So a sperm, okay, will never grow by on its own into a human because it is not a human life.
So you can dispute the idea that it's a human like person, right? But I don't know what you mean when you say that it's not a human life when it's a living human organism. Okay?
It is just not because it doesn't fit the definition of
Bro.
what is a human life.
Okay. And
It's like, okay, it's
oh my
like saying,
God,
it's like
it
saying
literally does. The definition that you gave, like, it does
it's,
fit
it's
under
like,
that. I don't see an issue.
it does not. It simply does not. It's not factual what you are saying. Literally, you can search it up right now.
Dude,
Search it up right now and prove me wrong.
what do you
Look
mean
it up.
prove you wrong? The way that we define terms is based
No,
on our own
You
definitions.
can do a simple Google search and you will see that a sperm doesn't fit the definition of a human life.
Again, definition of human life is subjective. It's dependent upon the way that we're referencing the term. So the way that you're referencing a human life is not entailing a living human.
The way that the definition that I give, it's a scientific definition. I didn't came up with any definition.
What's the scientific definition?
For a definition to be correct, it has to have the characteristic of what it is describing, and a sperm does not fit the to fulfill the definition of a human life.
A characteristic of what?
For a definition to be correct, it has to have the characteristic of what it is describing.
And what is a human? Tell me what a human is.
A human is a living organism who is from the human species and made to develop the characteristic of this species. This is what a human
what species?
is.
You're going to go back to what a human is. That doesn't clarify the terminology. What characteristics of what? Like what characteristics?
Of the humankind.
A living human organism.
Yeah, it's not. It has to be able to develop some precise characteristic of this species.
Oh, okay. So
why don't you understand?
If a zygote doesn't develop, it's not a human life.
Sorry?
So if a zygote doesn't develop, it's not a human life.
If a zygote doesn't develop, okay. Now my question is: does a zygote is made to develop the characteristic of the human species?
What do you mean made to develop? Right? Like it's
so
going to in some circumstance be able to develop, but also
it
the sperm is made to develop too, right? Given it has the other conditions, the same way the sperm is made to develop, given that it has the conditions.
Repeat that, please.
Oh my gosh, the sperm is made to develop given it having the conditions, the same way that the zygote is made to develop given it having the conditions.
Okay, under what condition the zygote will develop the characteristic of
given that there is an egg, right, and given that there is implantation, and then for the zygote, given that there's implantation.
Okay, so you're telling me that after fertilization, this is at this stage that it will be able to develop the characteristic of the humankind?
Say that one more time.
Okay, so now you're literally describing me that I see this is after fertilization that the egg will be able to develop characteristic of the humankind, right?
They're going to develop characteristics of the humankind. Like, what are characteristics of the humankind? Actually, wait, no, let me not. Development happens within the womb. Okay, so prior to implantation, there's not development. So if the zygote is flushed out, like 75% of zygotes are flushed out, right? They were never a human life under your view. So human life doesn't begin at conception. Human life begins in implantation under your view.
Does implantation it's not the same thing as the fertilization?
No. Fertilization happens, and then like a week or so later, then implantation happens. Implantation is when it's like goes into the uterine wall, implants in the uterine wall, right? And that's when the process of development starts, like within the womb.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to, you can abort zygote if you want. I don't care.
Oh, okay. So conception is not when life begins.
Hmm?
Oh,
You
think
just told me
life?
that.
You think
You,
life begins at implantation?
does the implantation is fertilization when the egg is fertilized?
No. Implantation happens after fertilization. Fertilization is with the zygote is a fertilized egg.
Oh, okay. So no. Do not abort the guy. No.
Okay. All right. I think we're gonna get stuck here. Is there anything else you want to add or talk about, bro?
Um, there was a point that I wanted to make. Okay.
Go for it, because I'm about to get off here.
You didn't answer me. Like, why wouldn't I put into law to protect those human life again? Because they are for you. They are not sentient. That doesn't count.
What? I don't care about human life if it's never been sentient and it's yeah.
Okay. So, but is that the reason of why we shouldn't make it a law to protect those human life?
Yeah, because they've never been sentient. Yeah.
That's not an argument, because I could just say that I don't mind that they are not sentient. They are just human life.
Yeah. This is the preference. So all the arguments start from axiomatic preferences.
Yes, but my
Like, I care
preference
about
is
human
more.
sentient life.
My preference is morally more consistent, because I'm saying that because of
Where is mine inconsistent?
let me tell you, because I'm not saying that because of the nature of a certain stage of the development of the human life, it is not valuable. So I'm not making that point. You are making that point that
Yeah,
I
there are
can.
certain stages that are not valuable. I don't care, right? But that doesn't mean yours is more consistent than mine.
It is more consistent because
You're saying
what,
more consistent with your own values. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's more consistent because I could tell a guy to not kill an old person. You couldn't tell them that if they answer to you that I want to kill this old person because, for me, since they are old and they are about to die,
Oh
so
my
I
god,
can
bro.
just
It's
kill
like
them.
we already went over this. Yo, super straight. We already went over this. I don't want to go over the same point again. I already gave you a response to this earlier. The same thing applies to you, but with just humans, okay? So this applies to any subjective standard, right? I just have a separate preference.
But you have to accept that your preference is not do not allow you to prevent other people to do certain action based
Yes,
on
it
your
does. Yes, it does.
own standard.
Why is murder illegal? Right? Because I think it's wrong. Right? Because we think it's wrong. Okay?
Yeah.
So all of these laws are predicated off of our moral preferences.
Why this one? Why this one?
What's up?
Why do murder is wrong? Why murder is wrong?
It's unjustified. That's like by definition.
Unjustified. Under which viewpoint? Because
Under
I could say
mine.
that I could use your same standard and say that we are going in circle because this is the same
You're
thing.
just gonna say the same thing. I know. I don't want to go over the same thing.
Because
to be honest.
your standpoint is not consistent. Because
It's not. Where's the an inconsistency implies there's a P and not P. Tell me what the P and not P is. If you can't tell me what the P and not P is, you can't tell me
Okay,
that there's
the fact that-
you can't tell me that there's an inconsistency.
okay, the fact that I'm using the same standard that you have. Okay, I'm using your same subjective
That's
standard.
not an inconsistency, right? That is just a
Why?
separate preference from mine.
I mean that is a simple way to put the fact that you cannot go through your moral in every context.
What?
This is just a simple way to put the fact that you are not morally consistent.
No, there's no
Because-
inconsistency. Tell me the inconsistency.
The fact that you do not agree with me, even if I use
Wait,
your
me
own
not
standard.
agreeing with you. Okay, here, let me clarify. An inconsistency relates to my own belief. If I am saying A and not A, that is an inconsistency. If you are saying A and I'm saying B, right, which is not A, that is not a contradiction, right? That is
Okay.
not an inconsistency because it doesn't relate to your own belief.
Okay.
Someone else, you just disagree with my belief.
Okay, let me try this.
No. Does that make sense?
Okay.
If it doesn't make sense, I'm just gonna get off. Right? I'm not.
Yeah,
trying to
no,
get-
I do understand
Does it
what
make
you say.
sense?
Yeah, I do understand it. That's why I'm trying to make you understand. To prove to you where your inconsistency is. Okay. Do you believe that people could discriminate some human life based on the nature of the state of this human life? Do you believe this?
Wait, say that again.
Okay. Do you believe that people should be able to discriminate?
Is he just gonna ask the same question he's asked like a million times before, dude?
Just tell me.
I'm not. Yes, if they're not sentient, you can kill it. I don't give a fuck, dude. If
It's
it's
not- it's not that
if it's past
You're
or
different.
present and future subjective experience, that's when I care about it. Okay. Outside of that context, I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a flying shit.
I do.
Okay.
I do understand
have.
that. But,
I've
but-
literally
Yeah.
answered this question. I've engaged with this question multiple times at this point. There's nothing being achieved from this conversation at this point.
Okay. I feel
I
like you
appreciate
do
the
not.
confetti. Thank you.
I believe that you do not understand your standpoint. What does it imply when you
What?
say that your stand? It does imply other things when you say that you do not give a fuck about if it is sentient or not. I do understand that.
Wait,
Now,
that's not what I said. That's not what I said. I did not say that. I said I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck if it's not sentient, not if it's sentient
yeah.
or not. That's a
Oh, yeah,
completely
yeah,
different
sorry,
claim from what
yeah.
I just made.
you know, I
appreciate the galaxy. Thank you so much.
rephrase your
Appreciate
point.
it.
But yeah, you do not care if they are not sentient. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's what the preference is.
Okay,
So
that's
you're
the
just
preference.
saying you disagree with my preference. That's all you're saying.
No,
at this point.
no, just let me go through my reasoning. Okay,
Oh my
so
God,
you're
you're just
saying
gonna say the same thing again. I honestly don't want to hear it again. I really don't. Dude, I'm no, it's just the same. It's gonna be the same thing again. I've been extremely patient with you. I've gone up to like 6 times at this point. Thank you. I appreciate the superpower. I appreciate it. I really don't want to go through it again.
I think
If you're gonna say the same thing, I don't want to go through it.
I feel like you do not understand what I'm saying. That's why you're responding that way to what I'm saying.
I literally listened. I
Okay.
understood everything that you said.
Okay. Please, tell me the point that I've been making and that you have been responded many times.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
you are saying that there's an inconsistency with my position because you disagree with my position because
No,
you can
no,
hold
no,
other
that's not- no,
positions.
no.
Hold up, because you can hold other positions that relate to the idea in which human lives can be discriminated against, right? But I don't care about human lives, so there's no inconsistency. I care about human sentient life. Okay? An inconsistency would be a contradiction. A logical inconsistency is a contradiction. What you mean by inconsistency is that you just have a different position from mine, right? That can be the case under any view with subjective morality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I do not see why there is no inconsistency there because, okay.
Tell me what an inconsistency is, please.
An inconsistency is when, for example, you say that you say that by some standard, this thing can be applied there, and okay, inconsistency could be defined in a way that, okay, I believe that those set of things are true, and then when another
What?
person.
Wait,
Let me finish my
another
point.
person. So what you mean is just disagreement, okay? Sure.
Not
That's not what an
not-
inconsistency is. That's not what a logical inconsistency is. A logical
But-
inconsistency is a contradiction. Because what does consistent mean?
This is the same reasoning every time. You agree with the same reasoning every time.
Similar with itself, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so- okay, similar- okay,
internal
itself.
beliefs. Okay. So contradiction. If I would have to be an issue with something that I'm positing myself, not a disagreement amongst me and you. And I've literally, super straight. I've literally clarified that same thing to you like at least 10 times, and you've still failed to engage with it. And then you're sitting there and you're saying that like I'm the one not understanding, or like I'm not getting it, bro. And it's a waste of my time. Like we're going over the same thing over and over again after I've explained it to you multiple times.
Okay, let me try to rephrase your position to see
my God.
if I understand it.
Okay, last time. I'm not doing it anymore. I can't.
So, the fact that I'm using the same standard that you are using, that doesn't prove that your standard are inconsistent because your standard is based on your internal belief, not on those standard. Is it this? Is it it?
Yes, an inconsistency is based upon an internal belief, something that I'm positing, A and not A. A logical inconsistency is a contradiction. If what you mean by inconsistency is that we disagree, I don't care that there's an inconsistency. Yeah, I disagree with you. That's the whole point of a
So
debate. Right? You're debating someone that you disagree with. So that's not a point
yeah,
that's
okay,
even
okay, okay.
relevant. Of course we disagree.
Okay, so okay, why? Okay, for example, why should I? Why is the way that you see things or better the way that I'm seeing it? For example, why is your stance better than mine?
Well, you can hold them either, right? Either of them are logically consistent, right? I would say that it's in accordance with my values, right? So that's why I'm going to say it's preferable to me,
Okay,
right?
what?
So like the reason would be because I care about sentience, but that's just going to relate back to what my preferences are. So we have different preferences. That's what it is.
So there is no argument on why you
I
are
would
more
give
wrong.
counter examples and I would show you reductios to accept my position over yours, right? But we keep getting stuck in those because you keep going back and forth on your positions. Like you've already changed your notion of what life is. You went from saying life begins at conception to life begins at implantation, okay? We've already
I
gone
did
through
correct that.
that.
I did correct that. So that's already made a point.
But 95% of scientists agree that life begins at conception. So you're disagreeing with most of science.
Yeah, and what about the 1%?
Okay, all right, man. All right, I'm gonna get off. I appreciate coming on.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
Then what about the 1% chat? What about the 1%? Okay, all right. Okay, so by that same reasoning, I just want to say, chat, we're also gonna be saying that climate change is not caused by humans, as 3% of climate scientists say that climate change is not caused by humans. All right, but I'm gonna get off right now. I appreciate everyone coming on today. I'm a bit tired from yesterday and like the flight and stuff like that. I should be on tomorrow, probably around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be doing the God topic tomorrow, everyone. But I'm gonna be on maybe here in like an hour or two on my second account. Parker Get a Bible. I'll just be talking to chat, hanging out. Maybe I'll get Dean to do a live battle or something. Tessa, thank you so much for the little crown. I appreciate the galaxy. Thank you so much, Andy. W, everyone in the comment section. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, everyone.